The TribLive High School Sports Network is your home for high school sports. We broadcast over 2,000 high school sporting events each year, over 15 sports, and across 10 counties. Visit us online at HSSN.triblive.com and find the latest in high school sports news, along with live and archive broadcasts, scores, stats, standings, and more, including premium shows live from the Excella Health Studios. TribLive High School Sports Network, the official video and audio streaming network of the WPIAL. High school football at HSSN.triblive.com is sponsored by Dollar Bank, by Seton Hill University, by 380 Discount Warehouse, by Excella Health, by Carlow University, by Chick-fil-A Robinson, and by Trib Total Media. Now let's head out to West Mifflin High School and join Josh Rowntree and Rood for all the action.
And a very pleasant good evening. WPIAL football right here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. It is week 7, and it's a rivalry game between the West Mifflin Titans and the Belle Vernon Leopards. The Titans come in 4-3 overall this year. They are 4-0 in Class 4A's Big 8 Conference. Belle Vernon, they are entering tonight's game 4-1 in the conference. Their only conference loss coming at the hands of Thomas Jefferson back in week 2. 5-1, though, overall are the Leopards, having won their last 4 games. Good evening, along with Lou Rood. I'm Josh Rowntree. Shelby Cassesi down on the sideline as we get set for a big game, and a game, Lou, that likely will decide what team will be the number 2 team in this conference, and that means what team will get to play at home in week 1 of the postseason.
Yeah, huge game in that respect. TJ and West Mifflin, as you said, both 4-0 at this point, but West Mifflin has to play Belle Vernon tonight, and they finish the season with Thomas Jefferson with a break with Ringgold in between. Belle Vernon has Ringgold left. On their last game of the season, they play exhibition against 5A Plum next week. So essentially the winner of the game tonight, if it is West Mifflin, they will head into the TJ game probably at 6-0 when they go in there. If it's Belle Vernon, West Mifflin will head into the TJ game more than likely at 5-1 with 1 loss. And then it sets up the potential if West Mifflin can beat TJ for a 3-way tie. If they can't, then that's going to be the second loss for West Mifflin. Pencil Belle Vernon in as the number 2 team and a home playoff game.
West Mifflin this year started the year with a non-conference loss to Mars, 7-6. They bounced back with wins over Indiana and Trinity, then a 22-point loss at Franklin Regional, followed by a 14-point loss, 14-0 in fact, in a rain and lightning-shortened game against Newcastle. And then the last 2 weeks, wins over Laurel Highlands and Greensburg-Salem. The offense has been clicking of late for West Mifflin, and when their offense is going, that means that their guy in the backfield, a guy that's heading to Howard University, is doing good things, and he's the guy to look out for tonight for the Titans, and I'm talking about Parrish Parker. Yeah,
Parrish Parker has had an outstanding season rushing so far. 134 attempts, 1,065 yards, 7.9 yard average, has scored 18 touchdowns, scored 108 points on the season. And, oh, by the way, he's also caught a couple of passes and thrown a pass, no less. So he is Mr. Do-It-All for the West Mifflin Titans. He is an outstanding runner. He's someone who Coach Matt Humber of the Belle Vernon Leopards is worried about. He feels he's got big play capability, and if they don't do their best to contain him, he's going to burn them.
He's one of the several seniors being honored tonight on senior night. The last 2 weeks for Parrish Parker, 50 carries, 506 yards, 8 total touchdowns. The previous 2 games before that, he had only 100 total yards and 1 score. So he's really turned it on the last 2 weeks, both of them resulting in West Mifflin victories. Belle Vernon comes in, though, at 4-1. That only loss came back to Thomas Jefferson in week 2. That followed a win over Ambridge to start the season. Then they beat in 4 games straight Laurel Highlands, Indiana, Greensburg-Salem, and they took down Trinity last week by a final score of 54-0. This is a Belle Vernon team that thrives on defense. They like to keep the ball on the ground on offense. Matt Humbert's team is having another really good year. He's had a lot of success since taking over this Belle Vernon program, and the guy that gets it done for them in the backfield is Mason Pascoe.
Yeah, Mason Pascoe, 107 attempts, 1,074 yards, averaging 10 yards per carry. also scored 14 touchdowns on the season, and is a decent receiver out of the backfield, has 4 receptions, averaging 11.8 yards per game. And he is a young man who can scoot. He's got the speed. He's got the moves. I got the chance to see him put 270-plus yards on the Thomas Jefferson Jaguars, and I guarantee you not too many backs do that to TJ. And so he is the real deal for Belle Vernon. And then Jared Hartman's done a nice job throwing the ball this year. 449 yards passing, 6 touchdowns on the season, and they have big play capability with their receivers. Hunter Rakonen and Nolan Labuda at the wideouts have come up with some big plays.
And it's a Belle Vernon team that really for the first time all season is healthy. They've had a lot of injury concerns, particularly early on. One of the big ones that's back, he played his first game last week, is their left guard and defensive lineman, Kirk Papelis, a guy that has offers from Youngstown State and St. Francis. Missed a lot of time this year. He had a lot of some injury concerns, but also had mono earlier in the year, and that kept him out of the Thomas Jefferson game. He's back healthy and will be in a rotation on the Lions tonight. They're going to work him back in against this West Mifflin team. You look at the Big 8 conference, Thomas Jefferson leads at 4-0. That said, they have not clinched a playoff spot yet. West Mifflin and Belle Vernon have. West Mifflin's 4-0. Belle Vernon is 4-1. TJ clinches with a win tonight. There's also other ways that they can clinch, but the Jaguars tonight playing at Laurel Highlands, a team that's 1-3 in the conference. Ahead of them, though, is Greensburg-Salem. They are 2-2. Indiana 2-3. Then Laurel Highlands at 1-3. Trinity's 1-5, and Ringgold at 0-4. This is a very common matchup between these two teams. Since 2008, they have met 11 times, and West Mifflin is 8-3 in those games. Belle Vernon won last year's meeting by a final score of 35-7. Jared Hartman threw for 61 yards in that game. Had a touchdown passing. He ran for another. Mason Pascoe ran for 2 scores and 53 yards. But Belle Vernon only had 190 yards of offense, and they scored 35 points. They had a special teams touchdown in there. And Lou, between these two teams over the last few years, the team that has excelled in defense has won the game. You look back the last 4 years, the winner of this ball game, and 7 of the last 11, the loser has scored less than 10 points in that game. So at the end of the day, both of these coaches thrive on defensive play, and you would imagine that's going to be key for whoever comes away tonight as well.
Yeah, no question. I had the chance to call that game last year down at Belle Vernon, and to be honest, turnovers were the key. West Mifflin had turnovers, and Belle Vernon really blew the game open based on the turnovers. Didn't have a fantastic night offensively, but capitalized on what their defense was able to do for them. I honestly think tonight, Josh, the key is going to be the line play on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Belle Vernon's got a nice-sized line, and they're solid. They're experienced. They're one of the better lines that Coach Matt Humbert has had in his time at Belle Vernon. He's very pleased with where they are right now. And, Coach Ray Brazos has gone on the record as saying, he's concerned because his kids are undersized no matter who they play.
Right.
And he says they try their hardest, but sometimes they just can't get in there with the big guys.
You look back at that game last year, West Mifflin had -4 rushing yards. 3 different players attempted a pass in that game. Matt Schuster led them with 44 yards passing. Parrish Parker threw a 71-yard touchdown to Jamir Lofton. That was the only score for them in the game. We welcome in now the third member of our broadcast crew, Shelby Cassesi, standing sideline.
His team has come into a game 100% healthy. They lost in week 2 to Thomas Jefferson, and he said they've been adding pieces back each week and improving in the process. So he says tonight's game against West Mifflin will be a good measuring stick to see if they've really improved as much as they think, or if they'll need to go back to the drawing board a bit more than they thought. But on the other side, West Mifflin's head coach Ray Brazos said they've been getting beat by teams that are bigger than them up front, and that's the case with BVA tonight. So he says his linemen will need to get good positioning against the BVA linemen. He also says that West Mifflin will need to get good field positioning. BVA's kicker Cam Guess is one of the best in the country in kicking as well as punting, and he's put a lot of touchbacks through the end zone this season. So Brazo says that they'll need to get out of their own end, keep BVA from flipping the field, and also get those key stops on defense while taking advantage of every opportunity on offense. Guys?
All right, thanks, Shelby. We'll touch base with Shelby throughout the course of tonight's action. The captains have met. West Mifflin wearing their home blue uniforms, as you can see, with the gold numbers and the gold helmets. And Belle Vernon on the other side, white jerseys with the
green numbers
outlined
in gold.
Black pants. As West Mifflin will receive the opening kickoff. It's finally fall. There's no doubt about that. 48 degrees is the temperature at the time of kickoff. And that kickoff will come by one of the best specialists in not only the WPIAL, not only the state, but in the country, as Cam Guess, the kicker and punter for Belle Vernon, will kick this ball off. He's only a junior, has an offer from Toledo already. He is ranked the #1 punter in the class of 2020, and he could be a big weapon tonight. Has that ability to flip the field, and we'll look out for the special teams game tonight. And for the Titans, back deep to receive is Parrish Parker and LaRonde Wilder. Week 7 of high school football, as we are in the stretch run. Only a couple of weeks left after this. A lot of playoff positioning. Playoff clinchings will go down tonight. Hope that you're following along here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Guess has the ball on the tee. West Mifflin to get this football to get us started. Belle Vernon and West Mifflin underway here on the TribLive High School Sports Network, and that football will go through the end zone for the 28th touchback of the year by Cam Guess.
And he has got a very powerful leg. And when you put the teams on their heels and stick them deep in their territory every single time, it gives your defense an advantage, and you start to win the field position battle.
Matt Schuster is the quarterback for West Mifflin. Parrish Parker at running back. Bryant Johnson, Stephen Lanai-Jonasant, and Jared Bevan are the receivers. You'll see Zion Weems at the fullback position. Cody Twigg, Josh Brown, Joe Stevens, Michael Silanoff, and Malachi Kershaw. Those are the guys on the line, and Ethan Demko is the tight end. And quickly they work the ball to Parrish Parker. Gets a positive gain, call it 3 yards on first down. And defensively on that line for Belle Vernon, Anthony Rebar, Colin Pilata, Kirk Papelis back after missing time throughout the year with injury, mono. Gage Rogie on the line as well. And the linebackers, Jake Fine, Anthony Bertram, Nino Kuntz, Ian Maloney. You'll see the return of Andrew Pasek, a former starter from last year, had a broken foot, and he is back to action. Larry Calloway and Damani Johnson, Nolan Labuda are the corners, and Hunter Rakonen is the safety. And here's some misdirection underneath. That's Bryant Johnson on the sweep, and that goes nowhere. That was sniffed out. Very nicely done by the Belle Vernon defense.
Yeah, Ian Maloney held his position at outside linebacker, read it perfectly. You see the handoff comes to the sidecar back, and Maloney comes up and makes the stop. He had help from Anthony Bertram, who forced him to the outside.
That was Bertram that knifed through and pushed him wide. Ended up losing a yard on the play. Brings up a 3rd down and 8 for West Mifflin, and this is not a terrific passing team. Schuster, 21 of 53 for 457 yards. He's only thrown for 2 touchdowns all season. He drops back here. They'll run a screen, and, boy, there's a ton of running room out to the far side of the field. That's Parker, and he'll get the first down. A good pickup for Parrish Parker and a nice play design.
Yeah, it was a perfect play design. They caught Belle Vernon. Everybody rushed, and the man responsible for the back out of the backfield was nowhere to be found, and Bertram from inside linebacker had to hustle to get out there and help Hunter Rakonen make the tackle. But a huge play for West Mifflin and a nice gain for Parker Parrish.
So Parrish Parker with the gain of 19 yards. He just picked up his 3rd receiving play of the year. Only 3 catches now on the year. And here's Schuster, the quarterback, pitches it out to Parker. With Parker trying to turn the corner, but not a whole lot working there. Big Colin Pilata got in, a guy that was all conference last year, number 70 in white, and he made a good initial play to bring him down.
And my apologies, I reversed his name. I called him Parker Parrish instead of Parrish Parker. That time Maloney again did an excellent job of holding the edge, and that allowed Bertram and Pilata to come in and make the tackle, and that's just question of being disciplined, Josh.
2nd down and 8. Under center is Schuster. And an early timeout taken by Ray Brazo. Tell you a little bit about the coach of the West Mifflin Titans, Ray Brazo, in the 9th year of his second stint, 27 years overall, the head coach of the West Mifflin Titans. He coached them from 1988 to 2005, went 176, had 3 ties thrown in there as well during that stretch. Between West Mifflin, he went to Steel Valley, didn't have to go too far, coached there for 4 years, and a guy that comes from the George Novak coaching tree, was an assistant at Steel Valley for 8 years under the legendary George Novak, and now works as a PE teacher at West Mifflin. But a guy that's had a ton of success, and as we're seeing on offense, it keeps it pretty vanilla. But they've had a lot of success with some really good players in that backfield.
I said when we did the pregame talk with Don Revel, they're going to run counter tray, they're going to run the toss sweep, they're going to run a power, and they're going to run an ISO. And every once in a while they'll throw kind of some trickeration in there.
So it's a 2nd down and 8. West Mifflin grabbing a 1st down on a screen to Parrish Parker. And here is the delayed give to Parker. Has some running room. Parker with the cutback move. And a nice pickup for a 1st down. Parrish Parker off and moving. And West Mifflin's picked up a couple of 1st downs with the legs of Parker.
And what was the first thing I said? Counter tray. Yep. Here it comes. Guard and tackle pull. Hand off to Parrish Parker. He's got a huge hole there. Great job by the West Mifflin line opening that hole up. And Parker rambles on for a 1st down.
And that will go for a pickup of 15 yards on the play. Makes it a fresh set of downs for Schuster and company. Parrish Parker committed to Howard, one of our Trib 25 preseason All-Stars. There's a short dive play. And Parrish Parker not getting much there. Just 2 yards. He's now up to 22 yards rushing, though he's touched the ball 5 times, though, already. And a guy mentioned the speed that he has. We talked about Bryant Johnson, another player we might see tonight, Dasani Green. 3 of the 4 members of West Mifflin's championship 400 relay team from a year ago at the WPIAL Track and Field Championship. So they have some speed back there, this West Mifflin squad. Receivers go each way, and now Johnson floating in motion through the backfield. He gets the handoff, trying to get to the corner, but it's not working, and white jerseys bottle him up, grabs a couple yards, but again, a good effort by the Vernon defense.
And again, talk about holding the edge, Josh. What that means is your last guy in the line of scrimmage is not going to let anybody get outside of him, and that time it was number 6 for the Leopards, Andrew Pasak, who held the edge and forced the running back to turn back inside where he had a lot of help and held the gain to about a yard.
This Vernon defense, they did not have 2 of their top defensive players against Thomas Jefferson. Kirk Papelis and Andrew Pasak, who you saw right there, both missed that game, and it showed. Here's a throwing play. Oh, what a catch on the sideline, but out of bounds. Both officials on it. That was a terrific catch by Jared Bevan, but just could not keep the feet in bounds, and that'll set up 4th down.
And, boy, that was a laser beam sent by Schuster to Bevan. Watch the velocity he gets on this throw. He zips it in there.
He just couldn't hold on. Grabbed it as he went to the ground, it looked like, but was bobbling it the whole way. So 4th down, and Bevan comes out to punt the football away. Hunter Rakonen will step back. I think there was maybe some indecision with Vernon whether they were going to run a play here or not. And it's an angled punt. Oh, what is Rakonen doing? Picks it up inside the 5 and it is out of bounds. That's a great punt, but Rakonen has to let that ball go.
Yeah, that's going to go in the end zone if he lets it go. Rule of thumb from every coach that I know, stick your heels at the 10-yard line, and if the ball goes over your head, you leave it there. You do not pick it up. So
7:29 left as Vernon comes out buried in their own territory back at the 4-yard line. So it's an I-back set for Jared Hartman, the 6'1", 210-pound junior quarterback. And is an early give to that I-back. That's Mason Pascoe as we are rejoined by Shelby Cassesi.
In the WPIAL, we have two 1,000-yard rushers going at it tonight, that being BVA's Mason Pascoe. He came into tonight's game with 1,074 yards and 14 touchdowns. Meanwhile, West Mifflin's Parrish Parker came into tonight's game with 1,065 yards and 18 touchdowns. A touchdown mark leads the WPIAL. Now, both of these guys can do something pretty cool tonight, and that is surpass the 2,000-yard career rush mark. Pascoe came into tonight's game needing only 71, Parker needing 32. So we'll keep you posted on that to know if and when these guys do that tonight. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Shelby. Something to look out for tonight. Both of those guys, Pascoe and Parker, looking to eclipse the 2,000 career mark. There's only 8 backs in the WPIAL right now that are over 1,000 yards rushing, and both of those guys are on that list. So a couple of handoffs here to Mason Pascoe. Picked up 2 on the first one. It's 5 on the second, so a 3rd down and 3 upcoming. As Mason Pascoe this year, 1,074 yards rushing coming in, 14 touchdowns, averaging 10 yards a carry, 6 in the district in rushing and scoring. Hartman now stands in the shotgun and fakes the handoff, takes off running, and Hartman's going to have the first down and more. Look at him carry bodies down near the 30-yard line, call it the 29, a great run of 18 yards for Jared Hartman.
And Hartman upset his helmet got taken off. He was calling for a possible face mask. Just a zone read, and he read it perfectly. Everybody went for Pascoe, and Hartman took off with the ball, and you can see.
He just got hugged around the helmet, but he'll have to come out for a play.
Yep.
Jared Hartman, his brother Jordan played basketball and baseball for Belle Vernon. He also plays basketball. Has completed 72% of his passes this year.
Paysack is now in at quarterback.
So Paysack likely just for a play while the helmet comes back on. And here he is. He's just going to take off running with it. Goes to the right. And Paysack, nothing doing there. So Hartman having to come out for that one play potentially results in a negative yardage play for Paysack.
And so now you can see here, Paysack just takes off to the right. Just a quarterback power. And a nice job defensively by Zion Weems of West Mifflin making the stop.
If you're watching this game on our social media platforms, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. You can check out the rest of the broadcast on our website, HSSN.TribLive.com. And we'll have the rest of the game for you there. But thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you can enjoy the rest of this one. Good one between West Mifflin and Belle Vernon here tonight at West Mifflin. Here's Pascoe. Oh, look at the moves by Pascoe. And he's going to turn something out of nothing. Well, he got bottled up and just kept moving.
Yeah. Well, we talked about how West Mifflin likes to run the counter tray. Belle Vernon loves to run it as well. That was a counter tray, but West Mifflin blew it up. And Pascoe just kept his feet moving and was able to make positive yardage out of what should have been about a 2-yard loss.
So it sets up another 3rd down. The last one, if you recall, Hartman had the 18-yard game. Hartman's coming off his best performance of the year, was 10 of 11 passing last week against Trinity for 109 yards through a touchdown. Ran for 3 touchdowns, though. Faces a long 3rd down, needs 7 yards, and he's going to go to the air. Or is he? Rolls out, has a man open, and the catch is made by Rakonen. And Rakonen will step out of bounds around the 50. A good hookup there of 18 yards. So twice needing long 3rd downs. One a rush, one a pass, both 18 yards. Belle Vernon moving the sticks.
Yeah, nice out route by Rakonen. And the offensive line does an outstanding job here. I mean, Hartman has time to have a sandwich, have something to drink, write a letter. And finally he throws the ball downfield, and Rakonen has gotten himself wide open. And more than enough for the first down.
Along that line, Hayden Barron, Kirk Papelis, Eric Oblak, Colin Pilata, Anthony Rebar. They're going to work a rotation in tonight as you see Hartman take off with it. A good gainer. He's a big guy, but he can really move. Grabs 8 more yards there. Does the junior quarterback, Jared Hartman.
Reminds me a lot of Mikey Fine, who was the quarterback for Belle Vernon about 3 years ago, who Jared replaced last year as a sophomore. A big quarterback that's a power runner.
And we will see his brother tonight out on the field, Jake Fine, a senior wide receiver and outside linebacker, is under center. Goes Hartman. Hunter Rakonen, you have seen already. Nolan Labuda, Dane Anden also at the receiver spot. A quick pass out, and the catch made. And that is Labuda. Has the first down. Good gainer. Belle Vernon moving the sticks here and converting. That one just a quick pass to Labuda on the outside. Labuda this year, 3 touchdowns on 14 catches.
3-step drop, timing route. Labuda just does a hitch route, goes out about 7 yards and hitches back to 5. And the ball's there right when he comes out of his break. So excellent timing by Belle Vernon on that.
Already the 9th play of this drive. Remember, Belle Vernon started all the way back at their own 4-yard line. As Labuda scoots in motion into that slot left. And the give is to Pascoe. Pascoe with some running room. The speedster up the middle, down to the 20. A good gainer of 14 yards and a first down again for Belle Vernon.
And a little bit of strategy going on there. You'll see Belle Vernon ends up with an unbalanced look. They pulled the guard and tackle in the counter tray. And West Mifflin had adjusted their defense to that unbalanced look, and it left an opening up the middle. And a nice run by Pascoe to exploit it.
This West Mifflin defensive line, Malachi Kershaw, Apollo Brown, Cody Twig, and Michael Silanoff. The linebackers, Zion Weems, Nico Cardamone, and his twin brother, Nevin Cardamone, in the middle. Laronde Wilder, the other outside backer. Bryant Johnson, Parrish Parker are the corners, and Jared Bevan is the safety. Here's a handoff again to Pascoe. And Pascoe, good yardage, picks up 9, maybe 10 yards.
And another counter.
And Belle Vernon really getting good push, Lou, offensively.
We get the replay. Watch the guard and tackle pull. Guard kicks out, tackle leads up through, and Pascoe has a nice hole. And Belle Vernon's line's able to get to the second level where they're getting on the linebackers, and that's why Pascoe's basically untouched till he gets to the safety.
11th play of this opening possession, and here is Pascoe again. Pascoe getting down inside the 5. Will be short by about a yard, but a gain of 10. And it'll be first and goal with only a yard to go.
Yeah, straight handoff that time, just a little dive action. Had a G block. The guard pulled around and kicked out, and Pascoe, very patient, read his blocks and then powers his way downfield.
They'll go with a heavy set, bringing an extra fullback into the backfield. The give is to Pascoe, and he has stood up. A great stop and slinging him backwards and to the ground. Is that West Mifflin defense? Big Joe Stevens got in there in the middle to stop that running play.
Yeah, they stoned it. Got good penetration there. And both linebackers came in and made the play. They're the ones that stuffed the hole.
Stevens had enough of that.
Yep.
So now they go with the eye as Gage Rogie is the fullback. Rakonen, the lone receiver. Pascoe, and again, West Mifflin's defense stepping up. What a big play as Nevin Cardamone got in there for the stop. And we talked about it. He and his twin brother, they're kind of undersized inside linebackers, but a big play there by the senior 5'6", 180-pounder.
Yeah, they're getting good penetration. They're hitting Pascoe in the backfield. And that time, they got penetration up front. The one that really opened it up was Jashawn Schofield. With his penetration, that forced the line to block him, and that left the linebackers untouched.
Now they'll pull it back into the shotgun here. And keeping it is Hartman up the middle, dives, and he's in. The 3-yard touchdown run for Jared Hartman. And that time they took it out of the smaller guy's hand, and Pascoe put it in their big quarterback's arms, and Hartman goes over the top for 6.
Yeah, nice design there. Everybody went to Pascoe, and Hartman just took it right up the middle as time ran out in the first period. We're going to call that a 1-yard, 2-yard?
3-yard run.
3-yard.
The touchdown. Jared Hartman into the end zone on the ground for the 7th time this year and the 4th time in the last 2 weeks. And the extra point by Cam Guess, as usual, is up and good. As he is still perfect, 30 for 30 on point afters this year. We're through one quarter, a long drive by Belle Vernon. Their first drive of the game ends in 7 points, and the Leopards lead the West Mifflin Titans 7-0 after one quarter of play here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Excella Health knows how important shoulders, knees, and ankles are to an athlete. Whether you're on the gridiron, under the boards, or walking a balance beam, being on the sidelines is never an option. Excella Health has a trusted team of orthopedic surgeons and athletic trainers right here in Westmoreland County. To learn more about Excella Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, visit them on the web at excellahealth.org. That's excellahealth.org.
A 14-play, 96-yard drive that took 7 minutes and 29 seconds off the clock, and it is 7-0 after one quarter of play. Belle Vernon on top, along with Lou Rood. I'm Josh Rowntree, Shelby Cassesi down on the sideline. But what an impressive drive by the Leopards.
It was, and I know you're keeping track there. How many yards did Pascoe have?
Pascoe had 43 yards on that drive, 8 carries. And Hartman had 29 yards on the ground, 26 through the air. And a good opening statement for the Leopards. Again, the first quarter only saw 2 drives. One was an 8-play series for West Mifflin that ended in a punt. And the second, a 14-play, 7.5-minute drive, as Guess's kick will be fielded in the end zone, as Parrish Parker had a foot in the end zone. So that's a touchback, and the ball will come out to the 20.
You said 29 yards passing or rushing for Hartman and 26 passing?
Yes.
Excellent.
So pretty balanced from
very
the quarterback.
balanced,
and then obviously Pascoe did some good things on the ground too.
And the line did a nice job blocking. I mean, West Mifflin made some big plays, but it didn't seem to stop Belle Vernon. They just kept coming at him. Now it's important for the Titans to answer what Belle Vernon has done.
Matt Schuster last year threw for 210 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's not much of a mobile guy. Has actually negative rushing yards this year. That would probably be factoring in sacks along the way. Did throw the ball early last week, though, in their victory. Here is Parrish Parker, and there's nothing. Like, great pursuit defensively yet again, and that line right now being one up front by the Leopards.
Yeah, great pursuit and good penetration here. And, again, setting the edge. And this time it was number 61 for the Leopards, Eric Oblock, who just set that edge and would not let anybody get outside of him, and that allowed the pursuit from the inside to come up and make the tackle. And when you've got a fast, speedy back like Parker, you want to make sure you don't give him the outside, because if he gets to the outside and sees green and can kick his heels up, it's over.
That give inside is... They run it with the fullback. That's Zion Weems. Weems has been a nice kind of change of pace for them. Doesn't get a ton there, as it's a pickup of about 3 yards. But Weems this year has scored 3 touchdowns, has 155 yards rushing from the fullback spot.
And Eric Oblock comes from his defensive end spot, slides down in, and makes the stop.
In that opening quarter, West Mifflin 31 yards of offense, 22 on the ground. Belle Vernon 70 yards on the ground, and 26 through the air, part of that 96-yard drive. As to be expected, these teams running the ball quite a bit, and that makes the clock move pretty fast. Now Schuster on the rollout, and will tuck it. Boy, he gets flipped over on that Belle Vernon sideline. Not much running room there, and really good pursuit to the edges. That was Dakota Marion, the defensive lineman, that got out there to get to him, and that'll bring up 4th down.
Yeah, they ran the counter pass off of this where the guards pulled opposite guard and tackle, and he had nobody open. I mean, great coverage downfield by the Belle Vernon secondary, and he had no choice but to just try and get out of bounds, and got hit before he could do that.
Nolan Labuda back to return this punt, averaging 5.5 yards per return this year, as the punter Jared Bevan takes a snap. That punt angled, and not a great kick. It's going to go out of bounds, and West Mifflin will start on Belle Vernon will start on West Mifflin's side of the field. We'll step aside, 10:16 left here in the second quarter, 7-0 Belle Vernon on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveSYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Vernon with the football at the 48-yard line of West Mifflin. Their first play, a handoff to Mason Pascoe as he spins off one tackle, then taken down by the safety, Jared Bevan. And it's a gain of 3, but there's a flag down back behind the play over on the Belle Vernon sideline.
See what the call is here. Sideline warning would be my guess.
Yep, that's what it is. That gives us a chance, because we haven't had any penalties to this point, to introduce you to our officials tonight. The head referee you see there with the white cap, that is Ralph Brown. The umpire, Bill Smith. Head linesman is Zachary Mester. The line judge, William Miles. The field judge, Mark Packrell. And the side judge is Bill Miles. So we have William and Bill Miles. Guessing that's a father-son combo. Here's Hartman on the play fake over the middle. Well, had a man open. And that was the backup tight end, Mitch Polott, running the seam. Just couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, he was open and pass. He had to stretch for it a little bit, but a very catchable ball, but Mitch couldn't come down with it. And a nice toss by Hartman, just a little bit past his arms, but a nicely schemed play.
Jared Bevan pulled up, too, the safety back there.
He could have leveled him.
Could have maybe delivered a much bigger hit, but I think obviously with some of the safety measures that have been taken in football recently, I think a lot of players at every level are pulling back off those big hits. So it sets up a 3rd down and 7. And Hartman's going to keep it again and muscling his way. Did he get the first down? He did. Boy, he needed 7, and that last effort got him 8 yards. A good run by the quarterback, Jared Hartman, yet again.
And they list him, as you said, at 210, but he looks a little bit bigger than 210. And you can see, fakes it to Pascoe, heads right up the middle, is hit initially at the 38, and carries West Mifflin tacklers all the way up to the 43.
Belle Vernon now 4 of 4 on 3rd downs. There's a quick run up the middle.
Pascoe.
That's Pascoe for a couple.
Belle Vernon trying to go tempo here and picking up the speed. It's nothing more than a power play off the left side.
Well, some of the top athletes in the WPIAL are featured every week on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Log on to our website this fall and check out which athletes we are talking to. 2nd down and 8. 9 minutes left here in this second quarter. Again, a speedy first quarter. Belle Vernon went 14 plays and went 96 yards on their only drive. Well, screen set up to Labuda. Labuda carrying defender down to the 30. A nice gain. It's a pickup of 7 yards.
Famous tunnel screen. You can see the lineman peel off and come back to block, and Labuda catches it behind the line of scrimmage and tries to get behind his lineman, but nice pursuit by the West Mifflin defense, limiting the amount of yards gained on the play.
So another 3rd down where Belle Vernon is 4 for 4 so far in this contest. Again, they have Cam Guess, who has not made a field goal this year, has not attempted one this year, but he is a terrific kicker. As you see Gage Rogie move up in protection, this is a run for the quarterback all the way. It's Hartman, and he'll have enough. Again, just got enough. After he needed 3, picked up 4.
That was a quarterback blast is what that was. You can see the fullback lead up through, and he just follows behind the fullback. And Hartman, powerful run on the play.
He has picked up 3 first downs with his legs and has also scored on the ground as well, the quarterback, Jared Hartman, to this point. Guy that is approaching just shy now of 1,500 career passing yards through some in 2016, but as a backup. Then last year, 928 yards. Did throw 15 touchdowns and ran for 9 in 2017. And the play clock has hit 0.
Called timeout first.
And, yeah, Belle Vernon and Matt Humbert able to sneak the timeout in beforehand. Gives you a chance to tell you about Matt Humbert, the head coach of the Belle Vernon Leopards. Coached at Ringgold for 4 years, went 30-13 and really turned that program around before getting the Belle Vernon job. He's now been the AD at Belle Vernon for the last 3 years, and a guy that also teaches 9th grade civics at Belle Vernon, has a couple of young children, a son and a daughter, 3 and 5 years old, respectively, but a guy that's done a terrific job for the Leopards.
Yes, he has. And we want to remind everybody that Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, is partnering with a Glimmer of Hope Foundation to put a stop to breast cancer. Visit any Mr. Magic Car Wash in the month of October, and $1 of every Works car wash sold will be donated to the charity. Official pink T-shirts are also available for $15, and all of the proceeds go to a Glimmer of Hope. For more information, visit them online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you. Mr. Magic Car Wash, helping clean up cancer.
7th play of the drive and a fresh set of downs for Belle Vernon. Under center, Hartman. He'll throw a screen to the far side. And that catch made by Rakonen, and then all the blue jerseys in after him for the stop. Malachi Kershaw was the first guy there, big number 66.
Yep. And he does an excellent job. He gets out there in a hurry from his defensive end spot. The one that makes the play is LaRonde Wilder, who holds Rakonen up and allows Kershaw to come over and make the stop.
Rakonen's second catch, but no yardage gain there, maybe about a half a yard. There's Labuda, flies through the backfield. And Pascoe. Pascoe just chugging along, gets up to the 20. Pretty nice gain there, grabs 5.5, 6 yards.
That was an ISO there. As you see the fullback lead up through. And that fullback is number 45.
Rogie.
Gage
Rogie.
Who comes up and puts a nice block on, and Pascoe does the rest.
Yeah, Rogie got injured against Indiana, but was able to come back last week. Again, this Belle Vernon team finally healthy for the first time this season. It's a keeper again for Hartman. Hartman with some running room, just carrying bodies as Parrish Parker was able to bring him down at the 6-yard line, but a pickup of 14 yards for Jared Hartman.
And West Mifflin, Josh, is just so much keen on Mason Pascoe that when Hartman reads it and pulls, he's got a huge hole up the middle. And when he gets going, he's a load to bring down. And a huge gain for the Leopards.
Well, their first drive went 7.5 minutes. This one is approaching 5 minutes as the pitch is to Pascoe. And that is not going anywhere. Great defensive play made by 22 in blue. That's Zion Weems, who got over the senior outside linebacker to help with the stop.
Yeah, they're able to. I talked about Belle Vernon keeping the edge. Here Weems keeps the edge, does an excellent job. Gets some help from Jared Bevan as well, and Kershaw hops in there as they make sure that Pascoe doesn't break loose.
Right now, time of possession heavily in favor of the Leopards. This will be their 11th play of the drive. Their first drive went 14 plays. And they will fake the handoff to Pascoe. And Hartman up the middle gets a couple of yards back, but that's all.
And that time they
there's a
Hartman's down.
Belle Vernon player. Yeah, that's Hartman who is down. He is hurt.
That is not good news for Belle Vernon.
Well, we will step aside while they attend to Belle Vernon quarterback Jared Hartman. 7-0. Belle Vernon with the lead over West Mifflin here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
380 Discount Warehouse in Murraysville carries a full line of brand new furniture at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries Ashley, Liberty, Vaughn Bassett, and Best Home Furniture, and many more. You can special order your furniture at discount pricing. While you're there, shop the many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, lawn and garden, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road on Route 380 in Murraysville. Open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big.
Make the brand new Chick-fil-A Robinson your destination for a fast, fresh, and tasty meal. Chick-fil-A Robinson can really satisfy you with their signature sandwiches, nuggets and strips served hot and fresh, alongside the famous waffle fries. Need to feed a crowd or a tailgate on a Sunday? Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering has got you covered with hot or reheatable chicken trays. Visit their catering website at cfarobinsoncaters.com to book your business or social media event. Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering. We deliver.
Well, you are looking at Jared Hartman, the quarterback of the Belle Vernon Leopards, as they've brought EMS out on the field, and Lou, this is really unfortunate. A guy that was having a really good night, having a good season, and the junior quarterback is down here, and obviously don't want to speculate, but looked to be something with the lower body, and this is obviously very unfortunate as you see him right there, just kind of take an awkward hit to that right leg.
Right. It looked like he caught him right on the right knee, and again, nothing dirty in the play, just came in, made the tackle, put the shoulder pad on the right knee area, and I don't want to speculate, but they're bringing the stretcher out, and that is not good news for the Leopards.
And this is obviously a massive blow. Now, Nolan Labuda has worked some as their backup quarterback this year. We also saw, remember earlier with Paysack as well. Now, we were told by Matt Humbert that Labuda is the backup, but when Hartman had to come out earlier, when his helmet came off, Paysack came in and took a direct snap. We'll see what they do there. But, Lou, I know you've coached before, and I'm sure you've had key players go down to injury. It's only a 7-0 game, and I think if you're Matt Humbert, you realize now your starting quarterback is probably done for the night. You hope not longer, but it's potentially looking that way, and now you have to rally your team emotionally, and that can be a huge challenge. So Matt Humbert has a big task at hand here tonight.
Yeah, he does, and it's up to the team now to make up for the loss of Hartman. And the one thing it's going to be difficult to replace is his running and passing combination that he can do, and also his leadership. I mean, here's a kid who started last year as a sophomore, came back this year with a lot of experience under his belt. You know, last year they were undefeated in the regular season. They were the Big 8 conference champions, you know, and so, you know, it's a big hole for Belle Vernon to have to fill, but, you know, they've got Labuda can run, Callaway can run, Pascoe can run. They've got people that can go. If Labuda can throw the ball, he can get it off to Rakonen. Although moving him in at quarterback now, you lose him as a receiver.
Coming up at the half, we'll have the TribLive High School Sports Network halftime show. As this week, Don Rebel and the Trib's Chris Harlan will talk recruiting and the current crop of seniors around the WPIAL. And speaking of Chris Harlan, you can read about tonight's game on the TribLive High School Sports Network website, tribhssn.triblive.com, as Chris will have the story from tonight's game. And obviously, a big part of that story is developing right now. The junior quarterback for the Leopards, for the Belle Vernon Leopards, and Jared Hartman down on the field being attended to. And as you see there, EMS personnel, they have a stretcher out on the field. What we can tell you is he was sitting up, but it appeared to be a lower body injury, a lower leg injury, if you're watching now. And obviously, it looked to be something that was fairly serious. And he looked to be in a pretty significant amount of pain. Belle Vernon, if you're also joining us late here, got off to a great start. West Mifflin, their opening drive went 8 plays, but it ended up in a punt, and Belle Vernon's Hunter Rakonen mistakenly fielded the football inside of the 5-yard line on a punt. They had to go 96 yards. They did just that on their opening drive, opening offensive possession. They went 14 plays in 7 minutes and 29 seconds, and it was Jared Hartman who picked up his 7th rushing touchdown of the year. He has 58 yards on the ground so far in this game, 33 yards passing, and he ran it in from 3 yards out to cap that 14-play drive, and that made it 7-0 Belle Vernon. And then West Mifflin, they went 3 and out on their second drive, their first of the second quarter, and ended up punting. So they have punted on both possessions here. And Belle Vernon now in the midst of an 11-play drive with 3rd down and goal at about the 4-yard line coming up after they are able to get their quarterback and Jared Hartman off the field as he's still being attended to. I'd like to remind you that Mr. Magic Car Wash is Pittsburgh's premier car wash. They're partnering with a Glimmer of Hope Foundation to put a stop to breast cancer. Visit any Mr. Magic Car Wash in the month of October, and $1 of every Works car wash sold will be donated to the charity. Official pink T-shirts are also available for $15, and all the proceeds go to a Glimmer of Hope. For more information, visit them online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you. Mr. Magic Car Wash, helping to clean up cancer.
Some of the top athletes in the WPIAL are featured every week on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Log on to our website this fall and check out which athletes we are talking to.
I want to ask you, and we kind of touched on it, but, we're dealing with kids who are under 18, 15 to 18-year-olds. Mentally, I mean, you're so geared up for this game, and Belle Vernon's obviously in a good position. They've already clinched a playoff spot. How do you mentally get your kids over this? I mean, you look at the sideline, and you would have to imagine your quarterback goes down, and you're almost in a state of disbelief, and you obviously feel for your kid, but you also have to rally now as well with him in mind.
It's a mental state.
Right.
It's a mindset. And, unfortunately, football is a game that you suffer injuries in.
Yeah.
And you have to be aware. And it's a cliche. You hear it all the time, but next man up. And sometimes that's the only thing that you can hold on to, the fact that it is a team sport and the rest of the teammates are going to have to pick up the load. And I think that's something that Matt Humbert's addressing down there with his team right now, that, you got to pick up the slack. You guys have got to carry on for Jared right now and make up for his absence. And I'm sure that's going to be a motivational factor for the team as well.
And it's great to see there. You see number 7, that's Parrish Parker, the top player on West Mifflin, going over and just saying some words to Jared Hartman, and now some of his teammates coming over as well. As, again, if you joining us late, as Nolan Labuda had a word for him, Hartman with a run up the middle, a short run, was hit and hit low, and it looked to be at the end of it.
Right
little,
there.
Yeah, you can tell there. Just
looks like a shoulder pad right on the knee.
Yeah,
right.
and
it flexed it backwards is what it looked like to me.
And nothing malicious there. I don't think.
No,
on West
clean
Mifflin
play.
side, just trying to make a tackle on a big quarterback, and obviously a tough situation as you see them working to still get Jared Hartman off the field. And obviously we're thinking about him and his family right now in Belle Vernon, and we'll see how they're able to rally here.
It's a key situation here now. They've got
third down coming up.
3rd and goal from the 5. And now if you don't score on 3rd down, I think you kick the field goal to get that 2-score edge. And you can see him headed off now.
Yeah, and gave a thumbs up there as they started the stretcher. And obviously just a sight you don't want to see in a high school football game.
No.
I think that goes without saying. Especially you talk about a team like Belle Vernon, that this is the first night, as we mentioned, Lou, the first night that Belle Vernon has really been healthy all year. They had a lot of injury problems. Throughout their 2 scrimmages this year, they were missing 5 starters from this team. The first 2 games missing 4 starters. They've had guys go in and out of the lineup throughout the season, finally healthy, and they were so optimistic and so confident where they were. And then obviously here in the first half dealt a big blow with their quarterback and one of their linebackers going down.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. And it looks like Labuda is going into quarterback there.
So Nolan Labuda is 1 of 1 passing this year for 14 yards. He has 3 carries for -5 yards this season. And he will hand it off and right into the end zone. Well, that'll help with a little momentum, and that's an emotional celebration. Mason Pascoe in for 6, and it's 13-0 on the short run by Mason Pascoe.
And again, BVA came out with the unbalanced look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to the right side, and just ran a power off tackle. And a nice lead block by the fullback. And West Mifflin could not contain Pascoe.
And the extra point for Cam Guess is through yet again. 4:41 to play here in this opening half. It is now Belle Vernon 14, West Mifflin 0 here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
There's a new fear, not of better options, of rising loan rates. It's real. Rates have gone up, and Dollar Bank still has one of the lowest around. With a rate as low as 3.29% APR with only $50,000 borrowed, fixed for 7 years, there's nothing to fear. You can renovate the kitchen or update a bathroom or two. So lock in your rate now before they, well, I don't want to say it out loud. If choosing the better option is your worry, you can be confident that Dollar Bank's loan experts have only your best interests in mind, since they're not paid a commission. So lock in your rate before they go up again. Get those home improvements done with a rate as low as 3.29% APR, fixed for 7 years. Longer terms are available. Stop by, call 1-800-242-BANK, or visit dollar.bank. Dollar Bank, mutually inspired. Rate is for well-qualified borrowers and includes a discount with a maintained qualifying checking account. Not available for the refinance of a Dollar Bank loan, line, or mortgage of less than $15,000 in new money. Monthly payment of $13.34 per $1,000 borrowed. Other terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Equal housing lender.
The scoring drive, 12 plays, 48 yards, 5:37 taken off the clock. Yeah, 12 plays and 48 yards covered. That was all. And here is a return for West Mifflin. Look out, it's Parrish Parker up over midfield. And good starting field position for the Titans. And you see the acceleration of the track star in Parrish Parker.
And Vernon got a touchdown-saving tackle. I didn't catch the number. Maybe on the replay we'll get a chance to see it, because Parker was gone.
West Mifflin will start for the first time tonight, not on their 20, after the great return by Parker. As the sea parted, and boy, watch him just stutter step and then take off. So explosive. And now in there to throw is Parker. And Parker lined up to take a direct snap, and then looked like he launched the ball down the field.
Yeah, you're going to get pass interference called on Vernon.
There is the call from Ralph Brown. West Mifflin.
They got caught sleeping on that one. And
they lined up.
He
Parker.
pretty much tackled him. Jake Fine is the one that was on the coverage. Or was that
That's
number
Callaway.
2? I'm
That's
sorry.
Callaway.
Callaway, rather. Fine was out there, but Callaway was on the coverage.
So the penalty really works out quite well for West Mifflin. Puts them inside of the 30-yard line down to the 29. And Schuster back under center this time. So a little bit of a wrinkle to the offense. And Parrish Parker has thrown 2 passes coming into tonight, one of them for a touchdown. Now he's going to run with it. Tries to get around the corner. Rakonen, though, dragging him down from behind.
And again, Vernon on the toss sweep does a nice job of holding contained, setting the edge, not letting Parker get to the outside uncontested.
Parrish Parker right now has 6 carries for 22 yards. I think if you were to tell Matt Humbert that stat, he'd be very happy with that. That was assignment number 1. Matt Humbert told us this week the goal for them, and it's no secret, they have to bottle them up. And they practice a lot this week on cutback drills when they get into the open field, working on reversing, because they expect him to rip off a couple of plays in this game. We've seen one good passing play to him, but the running game just hasn't been there, and here he is again. That's another good play on the outside, and that time it was Jake Fine getting to the edge.
Yeah, counter tray again by West Mifflin. Guard and tackle pull, but it got blown up inside, and big number 66, Anthony Rebar, blew up the blocking, and that allowed Fine to come in along with help from some others and make the play for Vernon. Good team defense there.
So it's a 3rd and long, 3 minutes left on this opening half clock. It has really moved. We had the lengthy delay for the injury to Jared Hartman, but a lot of running plays. As play action here, and another screen set up to Parker. It worked before. This time, though, not so much. Great defensive play. There is a flag down, but what a tackle out in the flat by Colin Pallotta.
And I think we might get roughing the passer against Vernon. There it is, personal foul, roughing the passer against Vernon.
So that's 2 significant penalties on this drive against Vernon that have resulted in West Mifflin first downs. 3rd down and 10.
Well, they're going to mark 15 off, which will give it the first down.
Puts the ball down to the 16-yard line.
A huge play. You can't make mistakes like that. You had him at 3rd and long.
Right. So roughing the passer call. Fresh set of downs. I-back formation. The quick give up the middle. Good little misdirection there as they give it to the fullback. And that is Nevin Cardamone on the carry, as we're joined by Shelby Cassesi with some injury news.
Guys, when Belle Vernon quarterback Jared Hartman went down with an injury carrying the ball towards the end zone, he was down on the ground for about 10 minutes, and crews brought out a stretcher for him. He left on that stretcher, and as he was leaving, I saw a right leg brace on his full leg, and he was taken to the hospital in an ambulance. We will work to learn more on that injury. Again, quarterback Jared Hartman for Belle Vernon out. He left in a right leg brace, and quarterback Nolan Labuda came in for Belle Vernon as a backup. Guys.
All right, handoff to Parrish Parker, working his way down inside the 5. Thanks to Shelby for that update on Jared Hartman. And a good run for Parker. And now a little bit of a pushback here by West Mifflin as their offensive line's gotten to work on this drive.
Well, that, and they got the huge lift off the kick return.
Yeah.
And then the two key penalties in the drive as well, where Belle Vernon has hurt themselves. A pass interference and then a roughing the passer.
Minute 40 left, and a late score here. Could that swing the momentum for the Titans? Here's Parker rolling to his right. Looked like he was maybe thinking about throwing, but great defensive work by Belle Vernon. Boy, they were all over that, and Anthony Bertram was in there to take him down for a significant loss.
Yeah, I think they were thinking about the old halfback pass here.
I don't think anybody leaked out, though.
But nobody went out into the pattern. And actually, that was number 2 for Belle Vernon, Larry Calloway, that made that play.
That is a loss of 12 for Parker.
So a huge play by Larry Calloway on that. Yeah, I think they were trying the halfback pass, but nobody went out in the pattern.
Yeah, Stephen Lenny Jonasant was, I think, maybe the intention there. Here's a floater to the back of the end zone. What a catch by Bryant Johnson. So a touchdown for West Mifflin with 50 seconds remaining in the first half, and what a strike that is after the big loss on that run to come right back and get the score. Huge, huge momentum swinger for the Titans.
Especially this close to halftime. As you can see, Schuster go back to pass. Just a corner route by the receiver, and he is open on the play. Kick is blocked.
The extra point blocked, but a 16-yard touchdown pass to Bryant Johnson. And for Johnson, that is touchdown reception number 4 this season. He's accounted for 5 overall scores. And now the last 2 weeks, 3 receiving touchdowns and got it with the fingertips. What a catch that was. 49 seconds to play here in this first half. So it's now 14-6. It's a 9-play drive as Schuster.
How many yards are we going to give on that touchdown?
Was a 16-yarder.
So a huge momentum turner for West Mifflin, and Belle Vernon will get it back, under 50 seconds to go in the half.
And now this is a low squib kick, and boy, you give away some good field position here. That ball recovered by one of the upmen. That was Anthony Evans, a lineman that jumped on that football, but great field position here for Belle Vernon. And I don't know why you don't just kick that ball deep or even kick it out of bounds. If you're going to do that.
Yeah, put them at the third. Well, they picked up 10 yards of what they would if they kicked it out of bounds. So, but great field position. Belle Vernon, I think they've used 1 timeout, so they should have 2 left. because they called one timeout when the clock was running out on him earlier.
We'll start at the 45, and here's a broken play. Labuda's just going to take off running with it. And made something positive happen there, but that was a busted play in the backfield, and obviously a new quarterback in there. Maybe some miscommunication, but ended up picking up 7 yards, did Labuda.
Yeah. Pascoe just took off. Labuda's like, okay, I got to fake it here. Oh, well, all right, I'll keep it. And off he goes. Gets positive yardage. So
timeout taken here by Belle Vernon.
Guess with the big leg,
right?
They can get down near his range here.
Yeah, that's something that Ray Brazo talked about this week when we talked to him. He said that, they have to be mindful not only of the field position, but the fact is, this guy can kick him from a long range, and it could, steal some points. Belle Vernon could steal some points away from West Mifflin. Makes it a 2nd down and 7, and do you trust Labuda enough to throw the ball here? That's the question. A guy that has only thrown it once all season. Do you have enough faith in him here? You don't want to throw a pick 6. And it's a give up the middle to Pascoe. He runs a man over at the 40 and gets into enemy territory down to the 37-yard line.
Now they need to clock the ball here so they don't have to waste a timeout. Or they're just going to run a play quickly. Now the clock's running.
Using a lot of clock here, now down to 35 seconds. They give it to Pascoe, and that's going nowhere.
And they take their last time out. And that was a lot of time got wasted on that one.
And again, Nolan Labuda filling in for Jared Hartman, who went down with what appeared to be a fairly serious leg injury and was taken in an ambulance out of West Mifflin Stadium here tonight. 2nd down, though, upcoming. I'd like to remind you that coming up at the half, it's the TribLive High School Sports Network halftime show as Don Rebel and the Trib's Chris Harlan talk recruiting and the current crop of seniors around the WPIAL. I'm not sure. Maybe they'll mention one of the guys we have talked about tonight, Parrish Parker, one of our Trib 25 All-Stars here at the start of the year, right down the road. We talked to him at Kennywood Park, one of the 25 players that we honored in the preseason.
Passed it on the way to the stadium tonight here.
Yeah, they have
the Rood I came in, yeah.
Yeah, they have the Fright Nights going, so it's all lit up tonight. Easy to see from on top of the hill here at West Mifflin. So we'll see what the Leopards do as time is becoming a factor. They have the ball at the 37-yard line.
I'd say they got to get it probably another 10 to 15 yards to give Guess a shot at making it.
4th play of the drive. Buda claps the hands and gives it off to Pascoe. Pascoe going to turn the corner and gets out of bounds, and that might be in field goal range, so they're able to move the ball efficiently on the ground.
Yeah, running the ball and doing a nice job there. Pascoe was trying to go up inside but was able to bounce it, and we talk about keeping the edge and outside contained, and I tell you what, a huge block from Hayden Barron. He just blew that defensive end 10 yards downfield, and there went your outside contained, and that allowed Pascoe to get the gain.
So he stepped out at the 22-yard line. Still 20 seconds to play. Thing is, though, here, if you get taken down in bounds, you got to rush. You got to rush and spike the ball. It's a fresh set of downs, though, at least, for the Leopards. And they will give it inside, and Pascoe trying to fight free, gets down to the 18. Good stop on the play, but time becoming a factor. Got to get up and spike it. And Labuda does just that with 5 seconds remaining on the clock. Great work by Labuda in this offense. Again, Labuda, backup quarterback, coming in and leading them down the field and at least getting a shot at points here for Cam Guess, who's going to attempt his first field goal this season.
Yeah, it'll be a 35-yard attempt. Ball will be put down at the 25-yard line. He's got plenty of leg to do it.
5 seconds left. Can Cam Guess extend the lead? And it is blocked. A low kick. Looked like there was a problem with the hold. And the kick blocked. So West Mifflin will take over with 2 seconds left. And the Titans escape with just an 8-point deficit still in their way.
Yeah, but you still got to feel good if you're Belle Vernon, because you were able to execute in a in a time-shortened situation without your quarterback just running the football down the field and get it in position to try and get the kick. Yes, you'd like to get it, and it is that was something happened on the hold, because that thing went along the ground is where it went. So 2 seconds remaining in the half.
Not in the kneel-down formation. The give is to Parker, maybe hoping for something spectacular here, but Parker will get tackled after a gain of 6 yards, and that will take us to the end of the first half. Well, Belle Vernon came out with 14 straight points, but West Mifflin scoring late, and it is 14-6 as we are joined now Shelby Cassesi with Ray Brazo.
All right, Coach, a little bend, don't break from you guys in the first half there. What do you guys have to do differently in the second half?
Well, we got to do a little better on their running game. We have to do a little better on their running game. They're obviously, controlling the ball on us. We're having trouble stopping their running game. The quarterback's, really been hurting us with his running. Obviously, he got hurt, but they still they're beating us up front, basically, and that's where we have to improve. And then offensively, we got to just try to get Parrish still going and mix it up a little bit.
Still a one-score game, though, so what did you like in this first half?
Well, it is a one-score game, so it could have probably been worse, but I think my kids are hanging tough. They have a really big, strong team up front, so like I said, we're just trying to stay close and see maybe we'll get a break.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Shelby, and thanks for catching up with Ray Brazo as we are at the half. It is 14-6. Just a reminder of how we got there. West Mifflin punted on their first 2 drives. Belle Vernon scored on their opening 2 series. The first was a 14-play drive, went 96 yards, 7.5 minutes came off the clock, and it was 7-0. Belle Vernon, they would follow it up after West Mifflin punted the ball away. A 12-play drive that took 5:37 off the clock, and Mason Pascoe went in for the touchdown, a 3-yard run, and both times Cam Guest had the extra point, 14-0. Belle Vernon, but West Mifflin, that late drive, got good field position off the kick return by Parrish Parker, and then Max Schuster would hit Bryant Johnson for on a 16-yard pass from Schuster to Johnson. The point after was blocked, and that made it 14-6. And then, obviously, as you just saw, Belle Vernon trying to get downfield and set up a field goal, but that field goal was blocked as well. A low kick, some sort of mishandle on the hold, and that takes us to the half at 14-6. But all things considered, and I think coming in, Belle Vernon was probably favored in this game just because of the results that they've had on their side so far, Lou. But they're hanging tough, and they're fighting. And that score at the end of the half, even though Ray Brazo still kind of, I think, maybe playing that self-underdog role with Shelby there, they're still very much in this football game. They're going to have a shot here at maybe knocking off Belle Vernon, particularly when you factor in that the Leopards are now without their starting quarterback.
Yeah, it's a huge deficit for Belle Vernon to have to work back from losing Jared Hartman in the first half. At about 4 minutes to go in this half when he was injured on a play down near the goal line. And, West Mifflin, with their ability to run the ball with Parrish Parker. I'm sorry, I keep getting that mixed up. But with Parrish Parker's ability to run the ball, they can strike at any time. We saw that on the kick return. He almost broke that one for a touchdown. And if you're Matt Humbert, you're not real comfortable right now. You've got a ton of work ahead of you in the second half, and you're going to need a pair of drives in the second half. You only had the ball 3 times total in the first half. So in the second half, you get the opening kickoff because you kicked off to start the game. What you have to do with that opening kickoff, you got to take it down and get some points out of it. And then you have to be able to contain West Mifflin for the second half.
We're here at halftime. You see the Belle Vernon band out on the field. And we're going to send it out to the halftime show as Don Rebel and Chris Harlan of the Trib is writing a story on tonight's game. As they're going to talk about WPIAL recruiting and the current crop of seniors around the district. Again, at the half, it is Belle Vernon 14, West Mifflin 6, as you're watching the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Week 7 of the WPIAL football season. We call it the stretch run around here, the final 3 weeks of the regular season. We're deciding conference champions. We're deciding home field advantage. We're deciding which teams will qualify for the playoffs here in the final 3 weeks of the regular season. He's Chris Harlan. I'm Don Rebel. We welcome you to the halftime show, where this week we're going to talk about something that Chris is a big-time expert on, and that is recruiting, where the elite players around the WPIAL will be playing come next year on Saturday afternoons and Saturday evenings. Here, halftime, big conference game in the Big 8 conference in 4A. Belle Vernon and West Mifflin, two teams that over the years have had plenty of players move on to the next level.
Right, and West Mifflin has another good running back. That's something they've had many times over the years. One school you can pick out to have a good running back, it's usually West Mifflin. Paris Parker, he's a kid this year, is a good two-way star for them, being recruited as a defensive back. And he's a guy that had a number of MAC offers and was getting some FBS looks. And he went to Howard, which is a recruiter, Brennan Marion, who has some Western Pennsylvania ties. Right. He's one of the assistant coaches down there. He did a really good job this year. I mean, he got him. He got Hollis Mathis, the quarterback at Penn Hills. He got Tank Smith, the running back at Penn Hills.
There's usually a tie, a Western PA tie, when schools that you don't really hear of that often all of a sudden are getting a lot of players from the district.
Right, and you see that when a school that usually isn't familiar around here all of a sudden just sort of pops up on the list. Yep. You usually start searching down that list of assistants, and you'll find somebody in that list.
From Western PA.
Absolutely.
There are so many players. Maybe WPIAL is overrated with when people think of the great football players. I mean, back in the day, it was legit. Nowadays, maybe not so much. We're still producing tremendous football players, don't get me wrong, but the numbers of those great football players moving on to college aren't what they used to be. How is this senior class in comparison to recent classes?
Yeah, when you talk about Power 5 schools, this class isn't maybe as strong as some of the past ones. It just isn't. When you look, there's still a few really good names at the top. Guys like Joey Porter Jr. at North Allegheny. He became a national recruit with the combination of his size, a 6'2" corner, his dad being Joey Porter that played for the Steelers. I mean, he had schools all over the country looking for him. He had LSU was in, Miami was in. Last month he committed to Penn State. So that was a decision to stay closer to home. That was kind of his decision whether to travel or stay home. But he's up there. You got a lineman from Pine Richland, Andrew Kristofic. Mm-hmm. He's been really good. He committed to Notre Dame back in April. Another guy at the top of the class right now is M.J. Devonshire from Aliquippa, who hasn't made a decision yet. He's still uncommitted. But I talked to his dad just this week, and he's a kid that is probably going to wait until later after the season. He said he still wants to be able to make his trips, go visit these schools. But, with Aliquippa winning the way they are, he just hasn't been able to get to see all these schools. So he'll probably put that off a little while. But Pitt, West Virginia, Indiana, a bunch of schools have been in looking at Devonshire.
How is the early signing period, which we saw go into effect last year, how has that changed the whole recruiting process?
It really has. Last year you saw almost everybody who was a major recruit, they all committed early. They all signed by December. So the traditional February signing day was kind of lackluster. Last year all the buzz was gone. So it'll be interesting to see if a kid like Devonshire does wait around. That could provide at least a little bit of buzz for February. But it definitely has changed everything. Now all the kids, if they don't commit in December, I think there's some pressure from some of the coaches that say, hey, if you don't commit right away, there might not be that scholarship waiting for you in February. So it's
that and the fact that if they don't commit in December, then you're looking from the kids' perspective of 2 more months of text after text and phone calls after phone calls.
And you did see that with a few kids last year nationally, where there were guys whose stock rose after that early signing period passed because of that. Some coaches said, hey, we need a defensive back or we need a wide receiver. And they'd go out and they'd try to chase someone down and bring them in. But yeah, for most kids who have decided, guys like Andrew Kristofic, I'm sure December can't come soon enough for them to be able to sign the letter and move on.
All right, we're talking recruiting here in Week 7. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about the playoff picture in the WPIAL, who's in, who's out, what needs to happen, those sort of things. So, I think it's a fun time of year for a lot of folks.
Yeah, it is, and this is it. We're down to the end. Lots of stuff coming together.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the Halftime Show. We hope you enjoy the second half of the Leopards and Titans here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Right now, let's look back at some of the big plays from last week with Kylie Owalk.
We're in the second half of the WPIAL football season, and we have another week of calls to choose from. Our 2 finalists for this week. We start with a big-time interception by Upper St. Clair. Here's Bob Orquist.
25. Rolling to his right is Seth Morgan. Seth fires. Intercepted! Antonio Orsini stays in bounds. 45, 40, 35. Cuts to the far side. Still at the 35. Inside the 30. Inside the 25 with Orsini. One man to beat. Can he do it? Yes, he can as a flag.
On the offensive side of the ball, this call might be for one of the best catches we've seen yet. Sean Saputo narrates this one-handed beauty by North Catholic.
Rocco back to pass, looking for Tyree Brown, back corner of the end zone, one-handed catch by Tyree Brown. The last 2 pass completions have gone to Brown, this one for 19, and his second touchdown of the night.
Follow me on social media and leave a comment to what you deem as the call of the week.
If you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up. 380 Discount Warehouse in Murraysville carries a full line of brand new furniture at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries Ashley, Liberty, Von Bassett, and Best Home Furniture, and many more. You can special order your furniture at discount pricing. While you're there, shop the many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, lawn and garden, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road on Route 380 in Murraysville. Open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Make the brand new Chick-fil-A Robinson your destination for a fast, fresh, and tasty meal. Chick-fil-A Robinson can really satisfy you with their signature sandwiches, nuggets and strips served hot and fresh, alongside the famous waffle fries. Need to feed a crowd or a tailgate on a Sunday? Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering has got you covered with hot or reheatable chicken trays. Visit their catering website at cfarobinsoncaters.com to book your business or social media event. Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering. We deliver. TribLive has a little something for everyone. Sports from high school to the pros. News from across the street and around the world. Arts and entertainment, lifestyles, opinion, weather, photo galleries, video. You can even find your next job, house, and car. So look alive, Pittsburgh, and get the news you want and information you need all in one place. TribLive.com. TribLive.com. News and more 24/7.
Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, is partnering with a Glimmer of Hope Foundation to put a stop to breast cancer. Visit any Mr. Magic Car Wash in the month of October, and $1 of every Works car wash sold will be donated to the charity. Official pink T-shirts are also available for $15, and all of the proceeds go to a glimmer of hope. For more information, visit them online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you. Mr. Magic Car Wash, helping to clean up cancer. And you see some of the pink flags down on the field as October, of course, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Welcome back to West Mifflin as the Titans band out on the field. West Mifflin trailing 14-6 to Belle Vernon here at the break with Lou Rood and Shelby Cassesi on the sidelines. I'm Josh Rowntree as Belle Vernon with a pair of scoring drives on their first two series and then a missed field goal at the end. West Mifflin, their last drive went for 6 points, and now they trail at the break. Let's take a look at how it all unfolded. Here's the first touchdown of the game, and this is Jared Hartman, and becoming a storyline here. Hartman injured later. He went in on a 3-yard touchdown run that capped a 96-play drive. Then Hartman got injured on their next series, went off in an ambulance and on a stretcher, but Mason Pascoe with the short touchdown run. West Mifflin came right back down the field after a great kick return to get into field position, better field position. The touchdown from Matt Schuster to Bryant Johnson made it 14-6 after the point after was missed, and now we are back here at the half. Well, don't forget to tune into This Week in the WPIAL on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Join us as we visit with some of the top WPIAL coaches. Plus, we recap Week 7 and preview Week 8 of the WPIAL football regular season. And also, the guy in charge of that show is Don Rebel, and he has a new podcast. It's the Rebel Yell podcast, and he will talk about WPIAL football every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And if you have any questions for Don, get them to him. You can use the hashtag AskDon. You can follow him on Twitter as well. His Twitter handle is @TheDonRebel. You can get him all your questions as Don has the answers, accurate or not, on every Friday show. His newest is up right now, sponsored by SE Tire, the Rebel Yell podcast here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. A couple of really great bands here at the half. Let's take a look at some numbers from the first half. We'll start with West Mifflin. The big story as far as the ground game goes for West Mifflin, Parrish Parker has not been able to rip off a big run. He had a 15-yarder early in the game, has really been held in check since, has 10 carries for 23 yards. They have 32 yards rushing as a team. Matt Schuster through the air, 2 of 3. He's only thrown the ball 3 times. Has completed 2 of them, though, for 35 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown pass went to Bryant Johnson, a 16-yarder. He also had a 19-yard screenplay to Parrish Parker. West Mifflin 1 of 3 on third downs, 35 passing yards, 32 rushing, 67 yards of offense. That's all, just 4 first downs in that first half for the Titans. A little bit better on the offensive side for Belle Vernon. 2 very long drives, plus another one that went 7 plays and ended with a blocked field goal at the end of the half. Mason Pascoe leading them, 17 carries for 86 yards. He had the 3-yard touchdown run. And Jared Hartman, before he left with the injury, 7 carries for 58 yards. And Hartman through the air, 4 of 5 for 33 yards. Nolan Labuda came in to play quarterback. He threw 1 pass. He also ran once as well. The run went for 7 yards, and the pass went for an incompletion. 2 catches by Hunter Rakonen for 18 yards, and Nolan Labuda with a couple of catches for 15 yards. So Labuda, you look at it to this point, he has 1 run, 1 pass, and 2 receptions. He's had to do a little bit of everything. They have 182 yards of total offense with 149 coming on the ground. 2 penalties that ended up being costly against Belle Vernon on that West Mifflin scoring drive late. They, however, are 6 of 6 on third downs so far to this point, the Belle Vernon Leopards, and they lead 14-6 at the half as Lou has been diligently searching the web throughout the scoring summary and all the stats, looking for some scores from throughout the WPIAL, and he'll bring those to you right now.
All righty, let's start in 6A. North Allegheny leading Hempfield 42-13. It's Pine Richland 28, Mount Lebanon nothing. Pittsburgh Central Catholic over Butler 7-0. Cannon McMillan leads Norwin 20-5. 5A Allegheny 8 Conference, Bethel Park up on Baldwin 21-0. Peters Township leading Chartiers Valley 34-8. Upper St. Clair leading Moon 17-3. 5A Big East Conference, Gateway 35, Albert Gallatin nothing. Franklin Regional 44, Connellsville 3. Latrobe 21, Plum 6. 5A Northern Conference, Penn Hills 30, Shaler 7. Also in the Northern Conference, Mars over Fox Chapel 42-7, and North Hills leads Armstrong 13-3. 6A versus 5A non-conference, Seneca Valley 10, Woodland Hills 7. Also 5A non-conference, West Allegheny 10, Hampton nothing. No report on Kiski area and McKeesport in 5A non-conference. 5A 4A Penn Trafford 14, Trinity nothing. 4A Northwest 8 Conference, South Fayette 54, Highlands 14. Newcastle leading Knock 14-13. Montour over Ambridge 37-0. In the Big 8 Conference, TJ over Laurel Highlands 28-0. Our score here, as Josh mentioned, 14-6. Belle Vernon in the lead. It's Greensburg-Salem 28 and Ringgold 0. 4A non-conference, Blackhawk leads Indiana 25-7. And 4A versus 3A non-conference, it is Beaver over Quaker Valley 42. I got to double check that one, but Beaver has 40. 3A Tri-County West Conference, it is Aliquippa leading South Park 7-0. Beaver Falls leading Waynesburg Central 49-0. Central Valley over Hopewell 28-0 in the Tri-County West Conference of 3A. Big East Conference, EF 35, Mount Pleasant 6. And it is Derry over Yock 35-20. And we will now head down to Shelby Cassess as she's got Matt Humbert with her.
An emotional first half for your team. What did you tell them in the locker room?
Well, I mean, there's no shortage of motivation. You know, we need to get this win for Hartman, and you know, we're resilient. We've faced adverse situations all year, so I'm very confident that the kids will do what needs to be done to get this W.
What changes do you need to make on the field?
Well, I think we need to stick to what we're doing. We need to get Pascoe running downhill. That's first and foremost, and we just need to make sure that we're smart with the ball.
Your defense has really limited Parrish Parker in the first half. What have they done well to keep him to a minimum?
We've been able to bottom up. We've been able to contain him on the outside. You know, I think the whole sideline scream smash on that play right there, we just didn't defend it well. So all we need to do defensively is continue what we're doing. Offensively, we need to grind this out on them.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Shelby. As we will continue with the scores. I believe I left off with North Catholic leading Uniontown 35-0 in 3A. Big East Conference action. Also in the Big East, it's Freeport 21, Burrell 3. 3A non-conference, Keystone Oaks 43, Deer Lakes nothing. 2A Allegheny Conference, it's Avonworth 21, East Allegheny 7. Steel Valley 22, Apollo Ridge 7. And it's Summit Academy and Valley tied at 6 apiece in the Allegheny Conference. Midwestern Athletic Conference, Riverside leading Elwood City 14-0. New Brighton over Western Beaver 20-0. In the 2A Century Conference, Charleroi leading McGuffey 20-14. Washington over Beth Center 28-22. It is Fraser 6, Brownsville nothing. In the 2A Three Rivers Conference, Sarah Catholic 7, South Allegheny 6, Southside Beaver 22, Seton LaSalle 6, Brentwood 28, Carlinton 7. 2A non-conference, Shadyside Academy 27, Fort Cherry nothing. And Shenango leading Southmoreland 7-6. 2A versus 1A non-conference, it is Carmichael's 8, Union 6. 1A Big 7 Conference, Rochester 38, Northgate nothing. It is Cornell 6, Laurel nothing. California leading Bentworth 35-7. Monessen over Mapletown 36-0 in the Tri-County South. Also in the Tri-County South, Chartiers Houston 14, Avella 7. No report on Greensburg Central Catholic and Jeanette, and Amani Christian and Leechburg in the Eastern Conference. Riverview leads Springdale 12-0, and here might be the shocker of the night, Josh.
Yes.
West Green leads Clairton 6-0. Our Lady of Sacred Heart 46, Jefferson Morgan nothing, and those are the scores that I have to this point. If you can update a couple of them there, I was searching everywhere.
Jeanette's leading Greensburg Central Catholic 21-7 right now.
Okay.
So there is an update from that big rivalry game out in Westmoreland County. That is interesting. West Green and Clairton. That's
on a pick 6, no less.
Yeah, a much improved. by the way, that game just updated now 6-6.
6-6
So
Clairton.
Back tied. But
It's even Clairton, even tied with Clairton with West Green, is quite I don't want to say shocker, but, impressive.
It's an eyebrow raiser.
On the part of the Pioneers there.
No question. As we get set for the second half, just thoughts on both sides of what you think both of these teams need to do here. One trailing by 8, still very much in this game in West Mifflin, and Belle Vernon having lost their quarterback for the rest of the game, trying to overcome that dilemma now. What do you think both sides need to accomplish here in the second half?
Very simply for West Mifflin, they got to get Parrish Parker going. I mean, he is their key player offensively. Yeah, they've got to get him going. Belle Vernon's done a great job limiting him. And for Belle Vernon, they've got to overcome the loss of Jared Hartman. Mason Pascoe has to step up. Labuda's got to do the best he can in that position as the backup quarterback. And their defense has to continue to play lights out this half. That's the biggest key to this game. If Belle Vernon's defense plays lights out, they're going to win the game. If not, I think West Mifflin is going to be too much for them just because of Parrish Parker and his ability, because if you can't hold him down, you're in trouble because they're not going to be able to score like they were previously.
Well, Mr. Magic Car Wash is Pittsburgh's premier car wash, and they're partnering with a Glimmer of Hope Foundation to put a stop to breast cancer. Visit any Mr. Magic Car Wash in the month of October, and $1 of every Works car wash sold will be donated to the charity. Official pink T-shirts are also available for $15, and all the proceeds go to a Glimmer of Hope. For more information, visit them online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you. Mr. Magic Car Wash, helping to clean up cancer. All right, second half about to get underway. Belle Vernon will start with the football. They're going to be in search of a good opening series, but here is a kick angled to the sideline. Boy, nearly getting down there and getting to that football was a West Mifflin special teams player. That was Jacob Davis gunning down that sideline. Boy, nearly got there to get to that football and took a little bit of a shot, and he seems to be in some discomfort.
Yeah, he was sprinting full out trying to get it. That was a well-placed squib kick there. Just got out of bounds, and Belle Vernon will get the ball. They're going to mark it at the 42-yard line. The ball went out of bounds at the 37, so they mark off 5 on top of that.
West Mifflin was very clean penalty-wise in the
that's their first one.
First half. That's their first penalty of the game, but it starts at the Belle Vernon 42. Excellent field position here for the Leps. They have been able to drive the field a couple of times already. Was that ball touched before it went out of bounds? Because time did come off the clock there.
No, it was not.
I didn't think so. Time should not have run off the clock. Here is Labuda and gives it to Pascoe. Pascoe with a running lane. And, boy, look at him move. Jared Bevan in to take him down, but a good gainer of 11 yards on the first play of the second half.
And they came back with what they were doing very well in the first half, the counter tray. Guards pull there and lead up through, and Pascoe just explodes through the hole for a huge gain to start the half.
Pascoe really has impressed me. He is very good. He goes from 0 to 60 just like that, and we saw it from Parrish Parker as well. The same type of thing. Here he is again on that stretch run to the left, and we'll get some positive yardage there. A gain of about 6 yards on the play for
flag down.
Pascoe.
I believe we got a flag down. It looks like they're going to call a hold on Belle Vernon. As you see Pascoe coming out here off the left side.
There is the hold. You can see it right there. That was Colin Pilata.
And so that's going to set him back. So it'll be about 16, 17 yards there.
That's a loss of 10 on the play.
16 yards.
The penalty. 1st and 16 coming up. Here is Pascoe. We'll get back over the 50. Grabs 4. Up over 100 yards, though, now.
There you see, heads in, and play made by number 56, Apollo Brown, from the D-line of West Mifflin.
This is a veteran defensive line. The 4 starters are all seniors. Michael Silanoff, Cody Twigg, Apollo Brown, and Malachi Kershaw. Labuda going to look to throw. Rolling, fires. It's a low pass, incomplete. Had the man open, sitting low. That was the running back in Pascoe. It leaked out. But Labuda's throw off the mark.
Yeah, rolling to his right, and Labuda just went out and curled up. And passed about 2 yards short into the turf here.
Belle Vernon 6 of 6 on third downs to this point. This might be the longest they have faced, though. I think they had a 3rd and 11 earlier they got. They need 12. They're just going to turn around and give it to Pascoe. Mason Pascoe's not going to get there. 4 yards on the pickup. But a good hold by West Mifflin on this opening series. And, boy, they're one good offensive series away from tying this game up potentially. They're down by 8. We need a touchdown and 2-point conversion, but that's a big-time stop there for the Titans.
And they're going to come in and let Cam Guess punt it away and try and pin West Mifflin deep using his leg.
Cam Guess, also a basketball player for Belle Vernon, has an offer from Toledo as a specialist, all-conference last year. Only averaging about 33 yards a kick this year, but guessing a lot of those have come in the short field because he definitely has a leg. And here is a low liner. It gets over top of it, maybe just trying to keep it away from the dangerous return men, Brian Johnson and Parrish Parker. And that'll be down at the 15. So you still are able to pin them somewhat deep, even though it wasn't maybe a perfect kick there for Guess.
Well, the good point for Belle Vernon was there was no return.
Right.
The bad point is they didn't pin him as deep as they wanted to. But if they can keep the ball out of Parrish's hands, that's the key, or Parker's hands.
Parrish Parker, again, we mentioned a good track and field guy, part of that 400 relay that won the WPIAL championship. He was 11th in the long jump as well. And this is a West Mifflin program as West Mifflin jumps offside here, their second penalty of the half after being clean in the first half. West Mifflin program that's had a good line of running backs, and they've had a lot of guys run for a lot of yards. Remember Wheeler a few years back? Boy, how dangerous was he? And Lou, I know back when you were coaching, I'm sure they had guys back there as well that were hard to bring
They've
down.
had running backs for years up here, outstanding running backs.
And I asked Ray Brazo about that. He said that it's somewhat of a product of their system. He said we're kind of like USC back in the day, and that our tailback is the feature guy, and he's going to get a lot of yards. And here is that feature guy. Parrish Parker trying to just wiggle through traffic, but just nowhere to go for him. And it has been a tough night. That is his 11th carry of the game. And he'll grab a yard now, just 24 yards rushing for Parrish Parker.
And the thing is, they've had a lot of different body types
at
that tailback spot. I mean, you look at Parrish Parker, 5'11", 190. Wheeler was a tiny little guy.
Right.
But, boy, could he scoot. And he ran hard and low to the ground, and he just soon run somebody over as he would make a miss. And so it is true what Coach Ray Brazo said. The system works. And he just plugs people in.
Parker had an offer from Louisville on the table, as well as a number of other schools. Schuster lobbing one downfield. He has a man open, and the catch is made. Pulling that in is Jared Bevan. And, again, they go up top and a big completion for the Titans.
And Bevan just running a fade route down the far sideline there. Little brief play action, and the cornerback gets caught peeking into the backfield, and that's all it takes for Bevan to get by him and have a huge gain for West Mifflin, and they get out of trouble deep in their own territory.
34-yarder on third down, a big pickup there. Boy, that is a huge play. The first catch of the ballgame for Bevan. Parker right back on the ground, gets nothing. What a great defensive play on the inside. And those white jerseys really swarm, and now there's a West Mifflin player slow to get up, and that is the left guard, Josh Brown. We're talking about a good athlete. This is a guy here in Brown as he's favoring that right ankle as he comes off. It appears right foot. He's a hurdler on the track and field team at West Mifflin.
Counter
right
trade.
there, just got rolled up on.
And Anthony Bertram made the play, came up in and read the guard and tackle pulling and just did a run through. Came right through the middle where vacated spot of the guard and tackle and was able to bring down Parrish Parker for no gain.
In that I-back set, here is Schuster again. Schuster has some room to the right. He's going to sling it downfield, a jump ball, and who comes away with it? It appears that Belle Vernon has the interception. I think that was Callaway downfield, but there is a marker down in the backfield.
Holding against West Mifflin.
A hold against West Mifflin, penalty decline, and a big takeaway for Belle Vernon.
Huge turnover for the Leopards. As Schuster airs this thing out, he gets a lot under it. Nice ball downfield. And going up and taking away from Bevan is Belle Vernon. I believe you were right. That was Callaway that came down with it. High-pointed the ball, did a nice job on the play, and that's something the Leopards needed. And it's what we talked about, Josh. The Belle Vernon defense has got to play lights out this half.
They will start at their own 20, but a big takeaway there. Schuster, it looked like, had some room to run to the right side, but decided to take a chance downfield, threw it into double coverage, and that safety help over the top. And Callaway right there, able to come up with the pick. And here's a quick run inside, a gain of 6 for Mason Pascoe on first down. He's now up to 115 yards on the ground tonight.
Yeah, isolation play. Fullback leads up through. Rogie makes a nice block, gets good blocking from his lineman, and just explodes up.
Glad you mentioned Rogie. I've been really impressed with him as a lead blocker tonight. I mean, he has that fullback frame, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does a nice job.
He can really run in front. 2nd and 4. Here's the handoff again to Pascoe. Oh, just lowers the shoulder, gets up to the 33. A nice gainer of 7 and a first down for the Leopards.
And the offensive line is starting to take over now for Belle Vernon. Again, here we've got a guard pulling, and Rogie leading up through.
That's Anthony Evans.
Evans pulled around and made a nice block.
They will shuffle this line. Kirk Papelis back in action after missing time with mono. Another 4 yards for Pascoe, and that's kind of how it's come tonight for Pascoe. I mean, he's had the big runs, but there's been a lot of those 4-yarders in there, and they don't look like big gains. I mean, that doesn't look like anything special, but it's 4 yards.
What's his longest run? It can't be more than 20 yards, can it?
He had to go back. He had a 14-yarder earlier.
Because we're used to
15-yarder. I think the 15-yarder would be the
longest. Yeah, because we're used to seeing Pascoe rip off some 30, 40, 50-yarders.
2nd and 6 at the 37. Here he is, had some problems with the exchange, it appeared, and then was brought down right away. Big Joe Stevens in there on the stop. Been impressed with Stevens tonight, number 62. He's been in there on Pascoe a couple of times.
And that time they tried to run the traditional counter tray and didn't get the block backs that they needed, and as a result, you had a defensive lineman bleed through, and that was number 54 that time, Nico Cardamone, that just blew the play up.
Saw Josh Brown getting helped off the field earlier, hopping off with that ankle, or Shelby Cassesi telling us they're looking at the ankle area of him, right ankle, so keep an eye on that.
And a good hard count that time by the backup quarterback, Labuda.
That's significant. I mean, that's a veteran type of experience move to get up there with that hard count. Got him to jump.
And Nolan Labuda gave the hard count, got him to jump, picked up a cheap first down that way.
3rd penalty of the quarter already. Belle Vernon eating up time on that clock, but they had a couple of really long drives in that first half. Here's Pascoe. Pascoe gets some running room, gets by Parker. Look out. Parker trying to chase down Pascoe and finally will with LaRonde Wilder down to the 6-yard line. But what a gain for Mason Pascoe.
And just exploded. You talked about how quick he is. Watch his acceleration as he's going to come through there. As run a little counter action with the fullback kicking out. And now he sees a gap, and he just explodes through, and it takes everything that Parrish Parker has to run him down.
Here he is again, goes right, and Mason Pascoe is into the end zone. Touchdown, Belle Vernon, a 6-yard run. And Lou, you had just asked what his longest run of the game was. Well, that was it on the previous play, the 60-yarder, and then Pascoe in for 6. And Belle Vernon adds to their lead, now up 14. A big run by Mason Pascoe, followed by a short one, and it's now a 2-score game.
Pascoe takes it in. What'd you mark that down as?
6 yards.
6-yard TD run.
Now up to 194 yards in the game. And the extra point by Cam Guess is good. 5:56 to go. It is 21-6. Belle Vernon on top of West Mifflin here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Introducing Everybody Shops, the informative online store offering a wide range of quality, unique products for your everyday needs, recommended and written about by field experts. Gadgets, gifts, gear, and more. Read, learn, shop. It's all here. Visit everybodyshops.com today.
Log on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the latest high school football news during This Week in the WPIAL, only here on the new TribLive High School Sports Network. Join Don Rebel and other members of the TribLive High School Sports Network team as it visits with WPIAL football coaches, plus they run down the upcoming schedule and preview the weekend's top high school football games. That's This Week in the WPIAL, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. this fall, only on the new TribLive High School Sports Network.
Chilly night here in Western PA. Belle Vernon's offense starting to heat up, though. 21-6 on a long touchdown drive. 6 plays, 80 yards, 2:34 off the clock. Mason Pascoe, a big 60-yard run, and then a 6-yarder to make it a 2-score game. Low kickoff. Fielded by Parrish Parker. He had the big return earlier. What can he do here? Parker trying to get to the outside, but great coverage defensively. A number of Leopards players in there, including number 13, and that is Ian Maloney.
He grabbed him by the shirt and held on, and then everybody else showed up to finish the tackle. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I hold my breath every time he touches the ball. Yeah. Because he can go the distance, and he was looking to do it that time, but Maloney grabbed him by the shirt and held on for dear life.
You know, one of the interesting things I thought about when we talked to Ray Brazo this week was he mentioned field position and how key it would be in this game. West Mifflin has punted on 2 drives, had an interception on another. They were pinned back on those 3 drives. It's a short pass now incomplete by Schuster, trying to hit Parrish Parker out in the flat, but Parker just behind that one. The only drive that they scored on was the one after the great return, which they got good field position. So Ray Brazo right on it. Field position very key so far in this game. That said, Belle Vernon, they've been able to drive the field quite a bit.
Yeah, they've had some long drives in this game. 80 yards, 96 on the other one, and you know, doesn't seem to bother them with the field position.
Well, West Mifflin, in their 4 wins this year, they have scored 172 points. That's 43 points a game. But in the 3 losses have only scored 12 points. So it's been the haves and the have-nots, really, for them offensively this year. As good run on a draw to Parker. Decent pickup there. Makes it a manageable 3rd down.
Yeah, 3rd and about, I think they're going to mark it 3. So he makes a nice cut to the outside. And Callaway slows him up, and then it is Papelis that brings him down. That's hustling from his defensive tackle spot.
Absolutely. That's the second longest run today, the longest since that 15-yarder back in the first quarter. As we approach 5 minutes to play here in the third, and this is not a West Mifflin offense that is built to come from behind. They don't throw the ball a ton. They have had some success here tonight despite that interception on the last drive. Third play of the series, and the handoff again is to Parker, and that's going nowhere. On third down, what a stop on the inside. A couple of guys in there, Jake Fine, Anthony Bertram and company, got in after Parrish Parker, and West Mifflin's going to have to punt.
Yeah, big defensive stop for Belle Vernon as he goes in there. First one there is Bertram, and then Fine comes in to finish him off. So a pair of Belle Vernon linebackers make the play on Parrish Parker, and 3 and out after a Belle Vernon score. That's the kind of defense you want to see. Now you get the ball back.
We heard from Shelby earlier, both running backs needing a certain amount of yardage to get to 2,000 in their career. Mason Pascoe is there. Parrish Parker one away as the punt nearly blocked. A high spinning kick and fielded on Belle Vernon's side of the field by Labuda. Imagine Labuda will catch that ball and then come back out and play quarterback here with 4:02 remaining here in this third quarter. And this is the series of the game defensively for West Mifflin. You have to get a stop here. The ball gets in the end zone, the ball game's most likely over.
Yeah, that's going to put them in a serious deficit if that happens. And if you're Belle Vernon, you want to run the ball, run the clock, and end up with points out of it.
So again, Nolan Labuda has taken over at quarterback after Jared Hartman went out with what appeared to be a fairly severe injury earlier to his right leg. And here's a handoff, and the ball is loose. It was put on the deck by Larry Calloway, but Belle Vernon able to get back on it.
Calloway has run the ball this year for Belle Vernon, giving Mason Pascoe a little bit of a breather there. And a nice tackle by 66. That is Malachi Kershaw. Gets the helmet right on the ball and pops it out. But Bertram, fortunately for Belle Vernon, is able to pounce on it. And Pascoe back in the game now for the Leopards.
Kershaw, an undersized defensive end, just 5'6", 185. Made a good play, though, there. And now Pascoe right back on the ground, going to rip off a first down. Gets 6 on it. The first carry of the game for Callaway, by the way. Now 200 yards for Mason Pascoe.
I was going to say a nice lead block by Rogie there to open the hole up for Mason Pascoe. And again, the offensive line doing a great job, Josh, for Belle Vernon.
Here is Pascoe. Down to the 36. And again, it's coming at 6-7 yards a clip right now.
And if you see the pursuit from behind, Pascoe can sense it. And when he sees a seam, here he gets the ball, he takes off. He's got people chasing him down from behind, but he sees the seam, just accelerates right through, plants and gets upfield, positive yardage. Now, somebody called a timeout, but I did not see.
I think shaken up on the
they got an injured player.
Was Joe Stevens. And
okay.
Stevens was getting looked at earlier, and you see that right leg is it looks like taped up a little bit. Now he's going to come back out. So tried to give it a go, and doesn't look like it's going to happen. You can tell he's frustrated as he gets over onto the sideline, and athletic trainer will take a look at him. Second down and 4 yards upcoming here. And now back into the eye goes Labuda. Pascoe just muscles his way forward. Needed 4 yards. Looked like he got it on the nose.
Yep, they're already moving the chains. I was going to say it looked like he was right on the mark, but the official didn't waste any time to move the chains. And again, there you go, Rogie leading up. But this time Pascoe cut back against the grain, saw a little bit of a seam there, and picked up the first.
Been impressed with Colin Pilata, all-conference selection last year, the 260-pound senior guard. We're going to run to the right, and a couple for Mason Pascoe. I would be surprised if we don't see a heavy dose of Pascoe the rest of the way. Just trying to close this game out. And this drive here, huge. You see Pilata again.
Right.
The big block peeling out.
Yes.
Here's a give. That is Rogie.
Just a fullback dive off the right side, or fullback belly as they call it in the Belle Vernon offense. Get some positive yards there. Give Pascoe a little break.
Gage Rogie with his 6th carry of the season. Grabs 2 yards. Clock, though, becoming a big-time factor here for West Mifflin. They're just trying to get off the field. This matchup so often has been driven by physicality and defense. And now West Mifflin needs to stop more than ever as Callaway on the quick burst after fumbling his last carry, very close to the first down.
He dove forward, and I think he hit down before he got to the marker.
I think here, though, if you're Belle Vernon,
you're going
for this.
No question. Put the big guys in, and here we go.
Fourth and inches, trying to keep this drive going.
Their big play here is quarterback counter, and the left guard moved.
Well, maybe that changes things. You still go for it here?
You still go for it.
Okay.
But now you get to Pascoe back in the game and do something with him, I would think.
Of course, you have a very good kicker and guess, but the last field goal they tried did not go so well.
No.
Problem with the hold.
I don't think they want to punt him deep here either.
No.
Yeah, Pascoe back in now.
You know, one thing I think that could be key.
I think they're going to take a timeout and talk about it here, Josh, because they're standing over on the sideline. But go ahead with that thought.
Time is running down in the half, too. We might get to the end of the quarter, though, first, and that's exactly what's going to happen. We're through 3. Belle Vernon with the football and a lead, 21-6 over West Mifflin as you're watching the TribLive High School Sports Network.
If you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up.
Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, is partnering with a Glimmer of Hope Foundation to put a stop to breast cancer. Visit any Mr. Magic Car Wash in the month of October, and $1 of every Works car wash sold will be donated to the charity. Official pink T-shirts are also available for $15, and all proceeds go to a Glimmer of Hope. For more information, visit them online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you. Mr. Magic Car Wash, helping to clean up cancer. Along with Lou Rood, Shelby Cassesi on the sideline, I'm Josh Rowntree. As we head to the fourth quarter, a big 4th down coming up, a 4th and 6 for Belle Vernon, up by 15 over rival West Mifflin. And here is Labuda. Labuda all the time to throw over the middle, in and out of the hands of a defensive back and picked off. West Mifflin taking it away, and now some running room for the Titans, and that is Malachi Kershaw. His big day continues. The defensive end getting downfield, making a play.
Yeah, I got the tip ball, and Labuda had all the time in the world looking around, but then he throws an ill-advised pass here, and the defensive back reads him and jumps the route, and it just tips up in the air, and Kershaw right there to catch it and heads back with it, and we'll see if that gives some momentum to the Titans as we start the fourth quarter here.
11:48 to go. You get a scoring drive here, and all of a sudden it becomes pretty interesting. At the 33 they start, and Schuster looking to throw down the right side, has a man open, and the catch is made by Bryant Johnson, goes out around the 30-yard line. A big hookup on the deep ball from Schuster to Johnston.
Yeah, just ran a fade route, did Johnston out there, and Schuster showing a big arm. He gets under it here and just tosses a rainbow out there that Johnson's able to catch in stride.
That is a 38-yarder to Johnston, who now has 54 receiving yards today. The second catch of the night. And now on the ground it goes again for West Mifflin. Parrish Parker.
And I saw something I rarely see from West Mifflin that time. Trips. Put three receivers out to the left, spread them out, and then ran the draw to Parrish Parker. And it worked. Nice gain for the Titans.
Matt Schuster, 107 yards passing. His high on the year is 146. Threw the ball 25 times back in week 3. That was a loss. Here's a pass over the middle. Has Johnson, the catch made inside the 5. Still on his feet, fighting to the end zone, and is finally taken down. What an effort as Hunter Rakonen was able to stop him short of the end zone.
Dig route that time by Johnson comes across the middle and wide open. Catches the pass, and then Hunter Rakonen has got a huge grip on him and just holding on for dear life and finally able to take him down. But turnover, great momentum for West Mifflin, and they capitalize on it. 2 big pass plays, and pow, they're right down there at the 2-yard line, deep in Belle Vernon territory. Make it the 3-yard line.
Bryant Johnson will get a breather. They'll go with a heavier formation. There are 2 receivers out there, though, actually. And the give is to Parker. Weaves through, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, West Mifflin. What a response drive that was for the Titans. A quick one, and they're right back into the football game with 10:28 to play. Imagine West Mifflin will go for 2 here, but what a big run after the long pass plays by Schuster to Johnson. How about West Mifflin throwing the football a little bit?
I know. And that time, good blocking by the guys up front for West Mifflin as they opened up a nice hole. Parker able to take it in and score. They are going for 2.
And it's not going to work. Boy, that play was read nicely by Andrew Pasak, who got out there and took down Parker. So that is big because that makes it
9 points, still a 2-score game.
Still a 2-score game with 10:28 to go. And, you know, you could have, and some would say that's maybe chasing points a little bit early because you go for just the extra point there, makes it an 8-point game. You're still down just 1 score.
You got to get a 2 points somewhere.
You're going to need 2 points somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when do you want to get back those points, and obviously Ray Brazo deciding to do it now rather than later.
Yep. How many plays was that one, Josh?
It's a 5-play drive. It only took, it's a short one. It took 1:20 off the clock.
And how many yards?
That took 67 yards.
After a turnover. So turnovers have led to 2 scores, 1 for each team.
And remember the last West Mifflin touchdown set up by that good kick return
as
well.
So big plays.
Yeah, splash kind of plays have led to points for West Mifflin. We'll see what they do here with the kickoff. Jared Calvert back there. Will they get interesting with this? And it's a short one. Jumping on it at the 41 is one of the upmen for Belle Vernon. And that is
46,
Anthony Sorich that got on it.
Well, Belle Vernon, last time West Mifflin scored, they answered. Came right back at them. So we'll see what happens here.
And both of these teams are in the postseason already. They are both going to be in the dance. It's just a matter of where they'll play the first week. This game, in all likelihood, to decide who will host a first-round playoff game. And here is Callaway. Put the brakes on. Callaway spinning to the outside and finally knocked down on the play by Nevin Cardamone. But a good gain by Callaway.
Yeah, he tries to go up the middle here. Nothing doing. Was able to move laterally after he leaps over one of his linemen.
That was Rogie.
Or was that Rogie, the fullback?
Got knocked backwards, but a gain of 8 anyways. I thought it was a lineman too, but Rogie's just a big dude up there, and now Rogie out there lead block and gets a little something back, and that's going to be good for a 7-yard gain and a first down for Belle Vernon. Is Callaway in there again?
Nice run. You'll see it's just an ISO. He follows Rogie, knocks Rogie down. In fact, Rogie got in his way, knocked him down, said, "Get out of here."
Yeah, Rogie's saying, "What do I have to do here? I keep ending up on the turf." And now a give up the middle, getting chopped down is Larry Callaway. A gain of 8, though, again. And now all of a sudden a lot of Callaway here in this fourth quarter, and some in the third quarter as Nevin Cardamone is slow to get up. One of the twins at inside linebacker.
And he's still down on the field. So Callaway gets the carries here 3 in a row and sets up one first down and then close to a second first down as he comes in with a nice gain there.
Well, next Friday and Saturday, conference play and the stretch run continues around the WPIAL, and TribLive High School Sports Network has at least 30 broadcasts for Week 8, including our video stream game of the week on Friday. Stay tuned to TribHSSN.TribLive.com for more details. And while we own Friday nights, follow us on TribHSSN for fall sports coverage every day, soccer and volleyball broadcasts, and a lot more. Your home for all high school sports is the TribLive High School Sports Network.
And Mr. Magic Car Wash, Pittsburgh's premier car wash, is partnering with a Glimmer of Hope Foundation to put a stop to breast cancer. Visit any Mr. Magic Car Wash in the month of October, and $1 of every Works car wash sold will be donated to the charity. Official pink T-shirts are also available for $15, and all proceeds go to a Glimmer of Hope. For more information, visit them online at MrMagicCarWash.com or visit a location near you. Mr. Magic Car Wash, helping to clean up cancer.
You see there the senior inside linebacker, Nevin Cardamone, being helped off the field. Certainly hope he's okay. This game, this matchup defined by physicality, and unfortunately it's resulted in some injuries tonight. Here's a dive play up the middle, little action after the whistle there.
Callaway, 4 straight carries now for Belle Vernon, giving Mason Pascoe a little bit of a break here and doing a fine job. And again, the offensive line really, Josh, imposing their will right now on West Mifflin.
38 yards rushing by Callaway now. Pistol set. Here he is again. He's kind of looking like the closer right now. Gets about 7 or 8 yards, but a flag comes in.
That's going to be a hold from where that was thrown. That was the umpire that threw that, and that's automatic.
Seems like at this point right now, too, Lou, after every play, someone is getting up, feeling that play.
Yeah.
It's a physical, just a slobber knocker right now of a football game. And it's every play someone is getting up a little bit sore, you can tell.
Well, I coached in this series for a lot of years, and I can tell you, whenever Belle Vernon and West Mifflin played, it was always a physical game. Both teams have tough kids. Both teams have kids that want to play physical, and your teams feel it after the game's over.
All right, so first down and 20. Fine out there as a receiver. It's Jake Fine, but again, it's going to be back on the ground. And here is Callaway again. He'll grab 5. Larry Callaway playing a lot here. Now you kind of wonder, not using Pascoe at all, if he's okay. We talked about how physical this game has been. Kind of surprised to not see him at all on this drive. But
change of pace here, I think, is what they're doing. Callaway, a more physical back than Pascoe.
Hand off Callaway. Oh, bounces off nicely, but just not going to get much more after that. That was a good play, though, initially by Callaway, just to get free for a moment. He ends up picking up a yard out of that.
And now I wonder, with third and very long, if Coach Matt Humbert might just punt this thing away. But he's going to leave the offense out there, but he has been known to pooch it. It's third down. I'm sorry.
Yep, third and
That's
14
why.
because of the
That's
penalty
why.
earlier.
I forgot the penalty.
Yeah, I see Pascoe on the sideline. Looks to be all right. Third and long. Here's Labuda. He's going to look to throw this ball. Nowhere to go. And now just running for his life. But look at him go. Oh, then he takes a heavy shot at the end. Got himself kind of exposed. And Jacob Davis lowered the boom.
Jacob Davis came in with a clean hit there at the end.
Labuda ended up grabbing 7. By the way, Shelby Cassesi down to the sideline. Nevin Cardamone went straight to the locker room after we saw him getting helped off the field. So hope everything's okay there. Pickup of 7 here for Labuda. Boy, what a big hit at the end.
Nice clean shot.
Yeah, Jacob Davis.
Got him with the shoulder pad right in the chest.
Davis has an interception this year as a corner. Works into that rotation with Parker and Johnson. Dasani Green at corner as well. But tonight, not as many corners needed because of all the play in the box. And a
play clock got to 0.
Taken, yeah. Timeout by Belle Vernon taken before the play clock could expire. The Leopards now 6 of 9 on third downs. They're 0 of 1 on fourth down. Looks like they are going to go for this.
Want to remind everybody that coming up after the game, it's the WPIAL Football Scoreboard Show with Dawn Rebel from the Excella Health Studios at the new Trib High School Sports Network World Headquarters with all the scores and recaps from Week 7 of the WPIAL football season. Don't miss the WPIAL Football Scoreboard Show after the game, only here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
6:38 left. It's a 9-point game. Belle Vernon, in all likelihood, a score here. A touchdown certainly would put this thing away.
Don't say anything because this is the place where Paul Patera and I had Ringgold score 2 touchdowns in the last 8 seconds of the game to win it.
Yeah, fourth down, and Labuda going to keep it, gets nothing. So I just got back to the line of scrimmage and did not give that ball to Callaway, and a turnover on downs.
I have to question, maybe you want to try and punt it, put it down in the corner if you can, and pin West Mifflin. Instead, they have decent field position here, but 6:33 to go. And, again, you've got a 9-point lead at this point. So it's up to the Belle Vernon defense now. And, if I'm them, I'm worried about Parrish Parker running the ball, but I'm more worried about them throwing it.
Let's go down to Shelby Cassesi.
Well, Belle Vernon lost to Thomas Jefferson 36-14 in Week 2, and they went on to win the next 4 straight games, scoring a total of 200 points in those 4 games. Their single-game low in points in that 4-game stretch was 48 points. Now, tonight is a bit different. Not as much offense from BVA tonight, but this matchup normally isn't huge with offense. It's mostly a battle of the defenses, but the difference tonight has been Mason Pascoe. He has carried the ball 31 times through 3 quarters with 213 yards and 2 touchdowns, obviously adding to that yardage total in the 4th quarter now. And he has surpassed that 2,000 career rushing yard number that we talked about earlier in the game tonight. So congrats to Mason on the mile marker.
All right, thanks, Shelby. And here is Pascoe. I'm sorry, that's Parrish Parker, I should say. She was just talking about Mason Pascoe and the terrific game he has had so far here tonight. That's a pickup of 6 after the incompletion on first down. Schuster throwing the ball. Actually caught a gain of 5. They'll spot him a bit short. But Parker tonight just 42 yards rushing, and that's a win certainly for this Belle Vernon defense.
To this point, yes, it is.
And that was their goal, was to stop number 7.
They still got 5 minutes to go here.
Yep. Third down and a big one. And a throw out, and it's intercepted. Ball picked off at the 41-yard line, and that is Labuda. And if a guy deserves one, he had to fill in at quarterback on the other side. And now Labuda comes away with a big pick in West Mifflin territory.
Well, he can say he threw an interception tonight, and he got an interception tonight. So
he's also run the ball.
Yep.
He's caught a couple of passes as well. He's done it all.
So a full night of action for Nolan Labuda. Of course, Jared Hartman, the BVA starting quarterback and their veteran, going down with about 4 minutes and 40 seconds to go in the first half with what we suspect is a lower leg injury, taken off on a stretcher.
West Mifflin starts at the 40. And there's Callaway again, grabs 3 yards. And now, I think you start to wonder
down.
Now. There's multiple players down on this.
Is that Pilata as well, or is that 61? Or
that
Papelis?
61.
That is 61.
And that is Eric Oblak, the center.
Yeah. And
Rogie is still struggling too.
So you got a pair of players down for the Leopards, and just shows the physicality that we've been talking about in this game.
And I kind of wonder too if maybe with a 2-score lead, if, as you see here, boy, just so physical at that point of contact. I kind of wonder too. We haven't seen Mason Pascoe. Maybe just trying to keep him healthy here the rest of the way. I mean, they have a 9-point lead. There's less than 6 minutes left. Maybe you just try to get out of here with your top guy healthy after you already lost your starting quarterback. Maybe just trying to play it safe here with a lead. Yeah. But, man, 2 guys going down on this play. It looked like Rogie got back up. And now Eric Oblak, this 6'1", 235-pound senior center, has gone down. And, West Mifflin, they're undersized on the lines, but they have always had guys that can play on that line. You go back last year, Gerald Brown went to Cal U. Talking to Matt Humbert this week, he was happy to not see Gerald Brown anymore. He was one of the best defensive linemen he has ever seen, ever coached against. Was just so impressed with him. And then you go back farther, Marcus Martin. Remember?
I remember him very well.
You know where he is now? He's playing with Aaron Donald on the Los Angeles Rams. He's on the practice squad. So West Mifflin has a terrific history. Not only we talked about running backs, but defensive linemen. They have put out some guys that can really play on the defensive end spot. And Marcus Martin going from Slippery Rock, now with an NFL team, just the latest. And a nice line of West Mifflin defensive linemen.
Yeah, and so if Oblak can't go, that's going to be a big blow to the Belle Vernon offensive line. Having been a center myself, it's one of the key positions out there. And I'm not saying that just because I was a center, especially in Belle Vernon's offense. They do something underneath. Yeah, I was. They do stuff underneath center a lot, but they also do shotgun. Yeah. And now, if you got to bring your next center in, maybe that takes away the shotgun aspect. You never know. And you never want to see this. It looks like they brought the parents out on the field.
And we should also mention, too, talking about West Mifflin line play, defensive line, Durante Smedley is their top defensive lineman, not playing tonight. He's out, and talking with Ray Brazo said that is a big, big loss for this team as they are attending to Eric Oblak. And, again, you talk about center quarterback so important. Now both guys for Belle Vernon have gone down with injuries in this game. And, boy, it's just been one physical, tough night out there on the field. And everybody has felt it. We have seen players leave on both sides. And this has not been a night for the timid out there on the field. These kids really have gone after it. And, unfortunately, this is part of the game is injuries. And, unfortunately, you hate to see it. And you hate to have to talk about it. But serious injuries, as we saw earlier tonight, it appeared with the quarterback of Belle Vernon, Jared Hartman. And you hope not the case here with Eric Oblak, but he has been down quite a while. You just know that's an unfortunate reality of what is a brutal game and what has been a tough night of football out there on the field.
Well said. Yeah. The truth.
Yeah.
I'm living proof. I've got a metal knee from playing for Belle Vernon many years ago.
So Eric Oblak, the center. Now Max Breyer is a guy that they have used at times at the center position. They have a couple of options. We've seen the rotation of players that they have used, but this is another lengthy delay here, as it looks like.
And that doesn't help either team
right.
in this situation
right,
because, you know, it's a cool night. You've been playing, and suddenly now he's up. Well, that's good to see.
And you wonder if maybe this is a concussion related. You see, they've taken the helmet from him.
Yeah, they did take the helmet.
Stood him up, and we believe, and we don't know.
Yeah,
for
they're
sure,
walking him off
we
now.
believe that his parents were out there with him as well, and he slowly walks off the field. But you have to imagine that some sort of test was administered. You see them holding him by the back, and his teammates come out to support him.
Jess, do we have that replay again just so we can get a look at it? Jess Levo directing things for us, and here you go. See if we can get a shot at Eric Oblock. Oh, there it is. Is that him right there? Yes, he's on the ground, and he gets hit into by the running back, Callaway, when he couldn't protect himself.
Yeah.
And so
just kind of blindsided almost in a way, got spun around and then just head on in a great shot.
I think he called it possible concussion protocol. Check him out for it and see what happens. Of course, they take no chances with those.
Right, and rightfully so. Fine in motion as we're back to it, 2nd down and 7. And the give is to Callaway. Callaway spinning through traffic. Going to get up near the 30. That's where he needs for the first down. He will be just a bit short. Grabs 6 yards, does Larry Callaway, who's now up over 50 here, all coming in this second half. By the way, tip of the cap to our crew tonight. These are not the best conditions to work in. It's a chilly night, temperatures in the mid-40s, and everybody here, whether they're in the booth, outside of the booth, doing a fantastic job getting you those replays and the great camera shots and everything that they do that goes into this fantastic night to work with all those folks. So here's Belle Vernon again on the run. That's Callaway. Gets up for the first down. Needed just a yard and got 3. Now you can really start to milk the clock if you're the Leopards.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do. 4:24 to go in the game, and if Coach Matt Humbert has his way, they're going to run all 4:24 off the clock.
What Matt Humbert has done at Belle Vernon has been so impressive. Now, it's not going to be an undefeated year this year. They already lost to Thomas Jefferson. But in this conference, when you face West Mifflin and Thomas Jefferson, every year, he has now gone undefeated in the conference twice. And this is looking like it could be a one-loss conference schedule unless something crazy happens. Here is Callaway. And Callaway going to get down to the 22, a gain of 6.
And we've got a West Mifflin player down now. And another one getting up slowly. Weems got up slowly. He was in on the tackle and down on the field. Is that
I think
56 or 66? I think it's a 5. 56.
56 would be Apollo Brown. 66 is Malachi Kershaw, who's been in on a number of plays. And I've seen Brown a couple of times tonight, as well as Kershaw, feeling the effects of this just brutal football game here tonight. And take a look, 56. He's the defensive tackle right there, and just kind of got sandwiched.
He went over. I believe he went over his own player there.
John McHale, he was engaged with. And one thing Belle Vernon has done, Lou, noticing throughout the night is they've rotated a lot of guys in on that line. They've used, Hayden Brown was the starter at left tackle, but McHale in here now is that is actually 66. That's Malachi Kershaw.
That is Kershaw, okay.
Being helped off, and that looks like a left arm. Perhaps a left arm or
he's limping too.
Yeah, it's just one of those kind of nights.
It has been very physical, especially down in the trenches tonight.
And you wonder, too, how this affects these teams going forward. Belle Vernon, you look ahead, they have a non-conference game against Plum next week, and then they're at Ringgold. Both of those teams are struggling. Those should be games that they're going to have an excellent chance at winning. Would be heavily favored in those games. West Mifflin taking on Ringgold next week, and then they finish with the big one against Thomas Jefferson in Week 9. As a designed run here for Labuda is going to get the first down. As he grabs 6 yards, Nolan Labuda. Been impressed, though, with Labuda. Tough situation to come into. He's handled it admirably, has made a couple of plays, done a lot of handing off, obviously, but, just getting the quarterback-center exchange down is not always easy, as you see the Leopard getting into it.
A little bit of Iron Man in the background there.
It's good stuff. Callaway on the run.
See if the Leopard's back here. What's the Leopard doing? Is it? No,
Who wants more Leopard? Give him the Leopard. There he is.
See that Leopard there. Got a little.
Oh, does he have a hoverboard?
Yes, he does.
Oh, man, they got everything at Belle Vernon, don't they? They have gold fields, gold hoverboards. These people from Belle Vernon, man, they
what can
all
I
about
say?
The gold.
What can I say?
Lou Rood's wearing. He looks like.
I'm wearing red.
He looks like Mr. T next to me with all the gold necklaces.
I'm wearing Trib High School Sports Network red.
Second down, Belle Vernon on the move as they continue to chew up fourth quarter clock. Here's Callaway. Well, Callaway took a heavy hit at the end as he ends up grabbing the first down. Picked up 7 more tough yards.
Another player down for West Mifflin. Shelby on the hoverboard, yeah, that would be good.
Oh, man, big hit at the end there.
Yep. You need to get her a red one for the Trib High School Sports Network. Justin LeBar, general manager behind. He produces the entire production here.
That's LaRonde Wilder, who is shaken up. Looks like he wants to stay in the game.
Yeah,
but
you
he's
can't
not
stay
gonna
in.
be
You
allowed to.
got to go out.
So they'll run a man on in his place. That's Ethan Demko. He's a tight end on offense, but going to get some action on defenses. Like both of these sidelines are
getting thin.
Getting thin, yeah, absolutely. And
I think you hit the nail on the head when you called her the slobber knocker.
It's just, in talking to both coaches this week, both emphasize the physicality of this rivalry. And, you look back, the last 4 meetings, 7 of the last 11, the team that has lost has scored less than 10 points. And that's not going to be the case here tonight, but low-scoring, defensive-type football games have kind of been the trend when these two teams have gotten together. Now the I-back set, give is to Callaway, fights his way to the end zone. A flag comes in late. Looks like they are spotting him just shy of the goal line.
No, I think they gave him the touchdown, but now
they do give him the touchdown now.
But the question is, what is the penalty called?
It would be a 5-yard touchdown run for Callaway, but I don't think it's going to stand.
Well, they're going over to talk to Coach Matt Humbert, so maybe the call is on West Mifflin.
Yeah,
personal
okay.
foul.
And that is against West Mifflin. So it is a 5-yard touchdown run after all for Callaway. Boy, he has had one heck of a second half, 78 yards rushing for Larry Callaway, and now a 5-yard jaunt to the end zone. And watch, just gets that big block from Rogie right there and just bounces off a couple guys and into the end zone. Strong running by Callaway here. The extra point by Guess is through, and the Leopards have reason to dance here. It's 28-12, 1:51 to go. Belle Vernon on top of West Mifflin here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Coming up after the game, it's the High School Sports Network Scoreboard Show. Our own Dawn Rebel has scores from around the WPIAL and analysis from our teams all across Western Pennsylvania. Watch on Trib, HSSN.triblive.com, or on over 15 affiliate radio stations around the region starting at 9:30.
Look at the Leopard going. 28-12, Belle Vernon on top of West Mifflin. And, again, as we said before the break, the Leopards with reason to dance here tonight. It's been a physical game, but, now I know you know Belle Vernon well. Does the Leopard have a name?
The Leopard.
He's just okay. All right. Well, it's easy enough.
The Leopard is the Belle Vernon Leopard. It's
I didn't know
the Leopard.
Larry the Leopard.
No, it's the Leopard.
You got Callaway. He's Larry the Leopard.
Yeah.
Getting back on the hoverboard, and the personal foul was applied to the kickoff here, so it's going to be a very routine kickoff here for Cam Guest. Just imagine he'll knock this one out of the back of the end zone. Had a situation like this last week, though. personal foul, moved the ball up. The team went for an onside kick. You like that call?
Because
if they recover it,
you
still
can end the
field
game.
position's not too bad.
You can end the game, just kneel it down.
Right.
But I think I'd just boot this out of the end zone.
And that is exactly what Guess will do.
Put him on the 20.
I think he was wide of the uprights. No, maybe he did hit it. 1:51 to go. It's going to be a big win for Belle Vernon. They're going to advance to 6-1.
And a couple of, as you said, winnable games coming up against a Plum team that's struggling in a non-conference 4A versus 5A exhibition game, and then finish with Ringgold, who has yet to win a game this season and is holding down the cellar in the Big 8 conference. But then the key is, how badly hurt is Hartman?
Right.
Is he going to be able to return this season or not?
West Mifflin starting at the 20. Schuster finds an open man, and that'll be a first down. Good throw by Schuster. I tell you, Schuster has a little zip on that throw, and I think that's maybe something that, going forward here for West Mifflin, I think you can use him as a weapon, as he's able to connect with Stephen Lenny Jonasson.
And just want to give credit to Belle Vernon defensive coordinator Brett Barish. He's done an outstanding job tonight.
Here is Schuster again. Throws one incomplete.
And they've held Parrish to how many yards?
Parrish Parker has 42 yards rushing. He does have a touchdown, but just 42 yards on 16 carries.
And that in and of itself is an outstanding accomplishment, because you're talking to a Division I talent for West Mifflin. Yep. And it wasn't because he wasn't trying. It's just Belle Vernon had him hemmed in all night long.
Yeah. He is going as Parrish Parker to Howard, and there are four WPIAL players committed to Howard.
Howard's 1AA, I believe.
They are. But he does have Division I offers. Louisville offered him, among others, Mac schools. Here's a quick throw over the middle, incomplete. On second down, that was Lenny Jonasson again.
And if it's 1AA, it's still Division I.
Right. And there are four guys that are committed to Howard from the WPIAL. Parker, Penn Hills' quarterback and running back, Hollis Mathis and Tank Smith, both committed. And then a nearby player, and a good one, Todd Hill, the linebacker from Steel Valley, also committed to Howard. So four guys from somewhat nearby, too.
Right.
I mean, two basically right up the road from one another, and then one not too far down in Penn Hills, all committed to the Bison of Howard, and that's due to one of their assistant coaches being a Greensburg-Salem guy originally. And here is Stephen Lenny Jonasson, and gets up over the 50. Whistle will blow that one dead, but a good completion.
Do we have a flag down? Yes, we do. Holding against West Mifflin.
And it was a 15-yarder, but that's going to bring it back. With a $1:14 left. This game really was flying along, but injuries and some penalties have slowed it down. 10-yard flag on the Titans.
And we talked about in the pregame, Josh, about how thought the game was going to be one up front. And I think it played out how we thought it was going to play out. You had an outstanding defensive line from Belle Vernon do a great job along with their linebackers in holding Parrish Parker, as you said, 42 yards. And then the offensive line just moved the West Mifflin defense to give up a ton of yards rushing, and another flag on the play. I'll be interested to see how many total yards Belle Vernon has rushing. It's got to be pushing 300.
Well, I can tell you that Pascoe has 213. Callaway has 78. Hartman had 58 before the injury.
So you're over.
Labuda has 20. And Paysack -2.
So you're over 3.
Rogie has 2.
Over 300 then.
Yes. Here is Schuster coming up short of Lenny Jonasson.
And Papellis hit him right as he went to throw the ball that time.
And that's a good guy to have back, to Kirk Papellis, mentioned earlier, both sides of the ball, offers from Youngstown State and St. Francis.
You can see him. He impacted the play.
Good show of sportsmanship there at the end, too. That was Pasak in coverage, and Lenny Jonasson went and helped him up in a physical game. It's which has had some chippiness, and I think both coaches kind of expected that. I think it's a good thing to see here near the end. Here is Parrish Parker. Going to get some running room over the 30 down to the 33.
It's had some chippiness, but nothing untoward.
Right. I mean, I think overall just physical.
Well played. Physical.
Yeah.
Typical old-school Western Pennsylvania football.
So that will result in a turnover on downs with 58 seconds remaining. And all there's left to do here is put the knee to the ground, and Belle Vernon will get a big, big victory on the road. Here is Callaway. No kneel down. Interesting.
Well,
Callaway.
I was going to say West Mifflin still has timeouts.
Do you think
left.
they would use them down by?
I don't know.
16. It's a pickup of 11 for Callaway. He's now up to 89 yards rushing, and they really only have to run one more play. I would think Ray Brazo would probably just call it off here. I mean, it is a 16-point game, so technically it is 2 scores, but that would be a near miracle. And here's Callaway again with a short run. I think with the physical nature, too, I think Matt Humbert, just don't want to see anybody else get hurt here with the way things have gone. So that might be the final play.
That should be the final play. They're not even going to snap another one.
So they will go and line up at midfield. The rivalry for the second year in a row goes the way of Belle Vernon. 28-12, the final score. The Leopards taking down the Titans here on the road. Belle Vernon now on the year is 6-1 overall. They go to 5-1 and all but assuredly lock up home field's advantage for the opening round of the playoffs as the second place finishers in the conference. West Mifflin now 4-4 overall. They are 4-1 now in the conference, and they look to be the third place finishers out of this conference. West Mifflin will finish at Ringgold next week, and that's a winless Ringgold team. And then they will end the year, that big Week 9 contest, as it is every year, with Thomas Jefferson. Belle Vernon, a non-conference game at home next week on the gold turf against Plum, and then they will finish at that very Ringgold team in Week 9. But Belle Vernon, 2 very winnable games to close out the year, as they come away with the 28-12 win tonight here on the road. And we will now send it down. Our Shelby Cassette
Shelby's
standing by.
She's
with
getting
Mason
ready. Let's
Pascoe.
see if we're ready. Go.
All right, Mason, what was the mentality of this team coming out in the second half when you lose your quarterback in the first half?
We just wanted to win it for our brother. We just wanted to push it down the field and play as hard as we could.
And now you've won 5 straight games since that first loss to Thomas Jefferson. What adjustments did this team make, and why have you been so good in those 5 games?
We've just been doing what we could do. We've been running the ball. We've been playing hard and just playing the best we can.
Finally tonight, you reached the 2,000 career rushing yard mark. What does that mean to you, and what does it show about that offensive line?
It means so much. I'm really happy. I can't thank my offensive line enough. They're always out there just doing their best for me and the team, and I appreciate them a lot.
Thanks so much. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much to Shelby Cassesi and her great work tonight on the sideline and catching up with Mason Pascoe. Obviously, Lou, it was an emotional night. I mean, you lose your starting quarterback fairly early in the game, and I thought the way Belle Vernon was able to rally despite that, I think it shows a lot about this team. They were able to keep it on the ground and effectively worked that run game And Pascoe was big, and then Callaway kind of came in as the closer late and put the game on ice.
Yeah, they showed a lot of character tonight. It would have been very easy to just collapse when you lose your starting quarterback, the way that happened. And they came right back on the next play and scored a touchdown. At the time, it was a 7-0 game. Came right back on the next play, scored a touchdown to make it 14-0. And then, they had their struggles at times. They had difficulty throwing the ball, and that's something to consider as they move forward. But that's also something that they get a chance that they can work on. And, we're going to have to just go ahead and have Belle Vernon look at how they're going to develop depending on what happens to Jared Hartman and whether he can come back or not. Because if he can't come back, they're going to become even more run-oriented than what they've been to this point and go from there.
Let's take a look now at the scoring recap of tonight's game as Belle Vernon comes away with the victory. The first score of the game, it was Jared Hartman before the injury, goes in on a 3-yard touchdown run. That was part of a 14-play, 96-yard drive. And then Mason Pascoe, after Hartman was injured, the very next play after the injury, Pascoe goes in from 3 yards out. That made it 14-zip. But West Mifflin comes back as Matt Schuster finds Bryant Johnson for a 16-yard touchdown pass. It was 14-6. But here come the Leopards again. They push it to 21-6. Mason Pascoe in from 6 yards out after a 60-yarder set that up. But West Mifflin, they were able to creep back closer as Parrish Parker had a 3-yard touchdown run that made it 21-12. But the big drives late finished off on the run by Larry Callaway. Callaway, all in the second half, ended up with 89 yards rushing. Belle Vernon as a team ran for 369 yards, 213 on the ground for Pascoe, 78 for Callaway, 58 for Hartman, and 20 for Labuda. Leading the way. Hartman through the air was 4 of 5 for 33 yards. And Nolan Labuda was 0 for 3 with an interception as Hunter Rakonen and Nolan Labuda each caught 2 passes in this game. For West Mifflin, they were led on the ground by Parrish Parker. He ended up with 48 yards rushing. But that was really it. You look elsewhere, just not a lot going on the ground. And really 17 carries for 48 yards for a guy like Parker, who the last 2 weeks carried the ball 50 times for 506 yards and 8 touchdowns. To hold him to only 48 yards, that is exactly what Matt Humbert wanted. They wanted to bottle him up, and that's exactly what Belle Vernon was able to deliver on defensively. They took the number one player on the opposition, not out of the game because he still made a couple of plays, but they certainly were able to contain him, I think, as much probably as you can possibly hope for against a guy like Parrish Parker.
Yeah, they did an outstanding job limiting his impact. And, again, credit goes to Brett Barish, the defensive coordinator of Belle Vernon, who came up with an excellent game plan. And also to the Belle Vernon defenders because they were all over the field tonight. They just did a great job in containing Parrish Parker. And that's all you can do with a great back like that. You want to contain him. You want to keep him under control. And you hold your breath every time he runs with the football. And they did a nice job containing him. All in all, an excellent job by the Belle Vernon defense. And the Belle Vernon offense was really starting to click when Hartman went down. And they still gutted out a tough victory in a very physical game against a quality opponent.
Matt Schuster ended up throwing 6 of 14, 147 yards. That's a season high. He had 2 interceptions and a touchdown, but just not enough to overcome this terrific night for the Belle Vernon defense. And again, Belle Vernon now on the year goes to 6-1 overall, 5-1 in the conference. They move into second place. We assume Thomas Jefferson, they were up big earlier. If they won tonight, they have clinched a playoff spot and are looking like the number one team in the conference. West Mifflin is now 4-4 overall, 4-1 in the conference. West Mifflin next week will be on the road to take on Ringgold, a 7 o'clock start on Friday. Belle Vernon will play at 7 as well, a home game against the Plum Mustangs in a non-conference showdown. And then Belle Vernon week 9 at Ringgold, West Mifflin week 9 back here on their home field taking on rival Thomas Jefferson, which will be a very important game. But Lou, final thoughts as we close it out. Obviously, it was a physical night, an emotional night, a tough night out on the field. But Belle Vernon, I think, showed a lot of character. And I think West Mifflin showed some things, too. I mean, their resolve here in this game. And I think maybe getting that passing game involved a little bit more. I think West Mifflin's still going to be a pretty tough team to face when it comes playoff time.
Yeah, because they've got Parrish Parker.
They got a great player.
Who can be a game breaker. Schuster starting to throw the ball well. And Johnson's a nice receiver, as is Bevan. So they've got a couple of kids that can go catch the ball, a quarterback that can throw it. And they're not going to be an easy out no matter how you cut it because, they play solid defense and the physicality of the way they play. Both teams very physical. And for Belle Vernon, just a gutsy win in the face of adversity tonight.
Make sure you tune in to the WPIAL Football Scoreboard show right now. You can click over on the site and check that out as Don Rebel will recap Week 7 of high school football. Thanks so much to all of our fantastic members of our crew here, all their great work here tonight. Don Rebel, Chris Harlan, Shelby Cassesi down on the sideline. For Lou Rood, I'm Josh Rowntree saying good night. From West Mifflin High School, the final score, Belle Vernon 28, West Mifflin 12. You watched it right here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.